Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. This is a story about what if Naruto neglected by family Yugioh Zexal. Before I start, please support for more amazing content and do consider subscribing to my channel and share this video with your friends. This is written by EVILDRAGONLORD 101 and link in description and support writer. Let's start the video. Chapter 1. Naruto x Ryo x Kathy x Anna x Roman x Hinata x Tenten x Haruka. All his life for 10 years Naruto Uzumaki has nothing but neglect from his family. Naruto was born the youngest of 3 triplets with 2 sisters Mito and Natsumi. Mito was the embodiment of a spoiled brat, while Natsumi was about average studying, following the rules and ever polite. He came from a family of duelists with both his parents well-skilled pros, both of who taught their children everything together, but over time Naruto was slowly pushed aside. On the day of the children's 7th birthday when Minato and Kushina passed down their family decks onto their daughters, leaving Naruto the odd one out. The reason for this was due to the actions of Minato's mentor Jiraiya, believing that one was the chosen child destined to save the world from a great calamity that would one day threaten the world. Naruto however didn't mind as he had his own deck, his faithful royal paladins. Even in the toughest of times Naruto had his trusty band of heroes by his side and managed to even best his sisters. But those days were about to come to an end. Naruto is being held back by Kiba, while his sister Mito and her 2 best friends Sakura and Ino are smirking at him while his sister has Naruto's deck. Give them back. Naruto shouted, trying to break Kiba's hold on him while Ino and Sakura laughed. These cards are wasted on a loser like you. Mito said, holding up the card she'd taken from Naruto while her brother growled. Mito smirked, taking the cards in her hand, ripping them in half. Much to her brother's horror, Kiba threw Naruto to the ground as the blonde-haired boy looked down at his torn cards, trembling with sadness and rage. Mito smirked as she and her friends walked away from the devastated boy, with their laughter echoing in his ears. Naruto's hair shadowed his eyes as he grit his teeth, clenching the grass tightly in his hands as thunder rang throughout the sky. Unknown to Naruto, a shadow watched from above was a red-black aura. This child, I can sense great power from within him and even greater potential. A voice called out before he landed behind Naruto and decided to leave him for until he got back on his feet. Naruto didn't know how long he was crying for, but he didn't care since his sister just destroyed his deck, the first deck he ever had and containing the first cards he ever had. The cards that got him into duel monsters and his favorite monster, and now they're gone. They're gone. Naruto rose to his knees with his head lowered as the heavy rain fell down his face, mixing in with his tears. Why does that happen to me? Why, hiccup, why does everyone hate me? Naruto whispered as the disapproving looks from everyone appeared in his mind, all either showing their hatred, anger and disappointed, all directed at Naruto. Then Naruto glared into the dark cloudy sky. Why does this world hate me so much? Naruto roared loudly that made birds fly away before he poured his eyes out again and slammed his fist on the ground a few times, making mud fly away from his fist. It's painful, isn't it? A voice said, catching Naruto's attention as he turned to see a guy slightly taller than Naruto, but he looks older than Naruto, standing behind him with a smile. He is wearing a long-sleeved white tunic with gray straps, cuffs, and collar, white matching white trousers. He is also wearing a blue and black coat with no sleeves. His eyes are gold and his hair is a light seafoam green with 2 long bangs, one on each side of his face. And he has a red marking on his forehead that is a diamond. Sniff, who are you? Naruto asked as he wiped his eyes, stood up and faced him directly, only to see him still smiling softly at him. I'm Takudo and it's nice to meet you, Naruto. Takudo introduced. What do you, Sniff, what do you want? Wait, how, Sniff, how do you know my name? Naruto asked, before he realized that he never told him his name. Oh, I know quite a lot about you, Naruto. As for what I want. All I want is to have a nice duel with you, that's all. Takudo said as Naruto looked down as his ripped deck, making Takudo follow his gaze. Ah yes, I suppose that'll be hard for you, wouldn't it? Takudo asked as Naruto glared at him. But don't worry, let's change that. Takudo said before he snapped his fingers as the heavy rain suddenly stopped as if time had frozen. What's going on? Naruto asked, looking around with confusion. Suddenly a reddish-black aura stormed around him, confusing the young Uzumaki as he suddenly found himself swept away by the darkness. Naruto found himself in a very modern room with glass windows as walls all around him, but he couldn't see anything out of the windows, the floor being a smooth, cold and gray tile to the floor. What is this place? Naruto asked as he stood up. This place is the void, a space where you and I may face off to our heart's content. Takudo said. Naruto gave him a confused look before he looked at his left arm to see his dual disc attached to it with a deck of cards in the card slot. He took the deck out and to his shock was his royal paladin deck, as if they were never ruined. Now then, Naruto, shall we begin our duel? Takudo asked. Yeah, of course. Naruto said as he inserted his deck back into his duel disc before he activated it with Takudo activated his duel disc. Duel. They both drew 5 cards. Naruto. 4,000. Takudo. 4,000. Naruto and Takudo shouted as they each drew 5 cards. When they did, suddenly the area around them vanished and soon they are in space. WHWH, where are we? Naruto demanded as he looked around with his eyes widen in surprise. Takudo chuckled, relax, we are merely on a dueling field, here no one will interrupt us. And when the duel is over, we'll return back to where we were. Takudo explained, making Naruto turn to face his opponent again. I'll also make the first turn. I draw. Takudo continued as he drew his first card, looked at it before adding it to his hand, then grabbed a different card. Now then Naruto, what you're about to experience is a deck that has been used in thousands of years, its power will be beyond what you imagine. So, watch as you're the first duelist to see this deck. I summoned Star Vader, Dust-Tail Unicorn. Takudo said as he placed his monster on his duel disc as a cybernetic unicorn with a red horn, its top part is white, while its underside is purple, around its body, and black rings with a red outline around all 4 of its cannons, appeared in front of Takudo. 4 at 1000 def 1800. Naruto's eyes widened when he saw it, what is that? Naruto asked as he has never seen that monster before. Takudo chuckled, I'm not surprised that you don't know of this deck. You see, no one knows of this deck or the power it wields. We are servants of the void. We are the heretic that comes through the juncture of time and dimension. The end of an evolution that inherits 100 million afternoons and nights that casts away the imagination of all. We are the destroyers that have obtained the ultimate and unlimited power, we are called Link Joker. Takudo shouted as he raised his arms to the side as he and Dust-Tail Unicorn became surrounded by a red and black aura. Naruto stared at him as he started to shake slightly, Link Joker. Naruto asked, a bit scared as the aura around both his opponent and his monster faded. Yes, and soon you'll see what it does later on. But for now, Dust-Tail Unicorn effect activates. When this monster is summoned, while I only control Star Vader monsters, I can add a level 4 or lower Star Vader from my deck to my hand. I add Star Vader Mobius Breath Dragon to my hand. Takudo showed Naruto the card from his deck before putting it in his hand. Then I'll end my turn with 2 face downs, you're up. Takudo said as 2 cards appeared on his field behind Dust-Tail, but in front of him. Naruto stared at Takudo before glancing towards Dust-Tail, Link Joker, just what power does it possess? Naruto thought to himself. Only one way to find out, my turn, I draw. Naruto drew his card before showing it, I summon Royal Paladin, Little Sage Marin, 4 at 1300 def 800. Naruto shouted as Marin appeared and adjusted its glasses. When Marin is summoned, I can special summon a level 4 or lower Royal Paladin from my hand, so I summon Royal Paladin, High Dog Breeder, a cane. Marin opened his book and flipped through the pages very fast as a blue light flew out of the book and landed next to Marin as it simmered down, showing a cane next to Marin. 4 at 1600 def 500. When a cane is summoned, I can special summon Pongal from my deck in defense mode. A cane swing her energy wipe, slashing it against th ground, making a whip sound as Pongal appeared crouching down beside her. 3 at 900 def 1400. Since Pongal was summoned by the effect of a Royal Paladin monster, I can draw another card. Battle. A cane attacked Dust-Tail Unicorn. Naruto drew his card before pointing at the target as a cane shouted and swung her whip towards Dust-Tail. I activate the continuous trap, Star Barrier Void. One of Takudo's face down revealed itself. With the artwork of Barrier Star Vader, Prometheum with an energy shield protecting Dust-Tail Unicorn and unrivaled Star Vader, raid on from an attack from a Blue Eyes White Dragon. Once per turn, while this card is on the field and you declare an attack on a Star Vader monster. I can negate that attack. A cane's whip slammed against a barrier that surrounded Dust-Tail just as it was about to make contact. The cane TSK as she withdrew her whip before catching the end of it. Furthermore, each time an attack gets negated by this effect, 1 void counter is placed on this card. Takudo continued as a black ring surrounded the card. Void counter. 0 to 1. What happens then with the counters? Naruto asked, only making Takudo chuckle. You'll see soon enough. Takudo replied. Naruto grunted as he grabbed a card from his hand, I set 1 card face down and end my turn. Takudo tilted his head to the side, oh, you didn't have Marin attack Dust-Tail? Takudo asked with a smirk. I don't know what else this Link Joker can do, so it's better to save my monsters in case you can destroy them when I attack. Naruto replied. Smart, a very smart move, since you don't know what this deck can do, you're using caution, which is a good move, or it can be your undoing. Takudo said with his smirk growing as Naruto narrowed his eyes. Just make your move. Naruto replied. Naruto, cards in hand. 4. Takudo, cards in hand. 4. As you wish. Draw. Takudo drew his card, looked at it, before smirking slightly, then added it to his hand. I summoned Star Vader, Mobius Breath Dragon. Takudo shouted as a white dragon, with black wings with red strips going sideways on each wing, with white lining on the top and the black and red circle behind its head, it slightly bigger than Takudo appeared behind him and roared. 4 at 1800 def 0. That's the monster he added last turn. Naruto thought to himself. While I control 2 or more Star Vader monsters, I can special summon, unrivaled Star Vader, raid on, 6 at 2200 def 1300. A human cyborg appeared next to Dusttail, it has a black visor preventing its face from being shown, the black and red ring is behind it, goes from the top of its head to its shoulders, and holding a white gun in its right hand. Naruto stared at Takudo's monsters, before he heard the latter chuckling, I bet I know you what you're thinking. You're thinking, show me the power that I've been bragging about so I can find a way to defeat it. Well, soon you'll see that's impossible for what you're about to witness. Naruto grunted to himself, damn it, are my thoughts that easy for him to read? Naruto thought to himself. Battle. Takudo said as Naruto braced himself, by having Mobius's attack points, he can attack you directly, Dark Star Shot. 4 at 1800 900 def 0. Mobius roared as 3 black rings appeared in front of it before it fired a red and black beam at Naruto slamming right into him, making him grunt in pain as he held his chest with his right hand. Naruto. 4000-3100. Mobius Breath Dragon Ability Activities. Takudo said as Mobius opened its mouth as 2 black and red rings appeared in front of its mouth and moving in a circle format and Naruto braced himself. The cane is selected and then lock a cane. Takudo said. Lock. Naruto said confused as Mobius fired the rings at a cane, when the rings hit a cane they grew, so she was inside of the rings as Naruto and all of his monsters turned to a cane with surprised and worried expression. The cane stared at the rings in fear before she started grunting in pain, before she screamed as a white light engulfed her, making Naruto's eyes widen as he moved his right arm to shield his eyes, but not enough to prevent him from seeing what was happening. Once the light died down, it revealed a cane in her card form inside a black sphere with black sparks and red lining around it, with a black and red ring spinning around the sphere. What is this? Naruto stuttered in fear before he turned to his dual disc. What the Naruto's eyes widen as he saw Kane's card is face down, but it's upwards not like in face down defense mode, it's face down but in attack position, with the same spark surrounding her card. What is this? Naruto attempted to touch a Kane's card, but it zapped him, Naruto yelled in pain. Naruto continued to stare at a Kane's card in confusion and fear, what's going on? Naruto whispered to himself before he heard Takudo chuckling making him, Marin and Pongal turn to him. Until the end of your turn, a cane stays in that position, in that state, a cane stays face down, she can't attack, can't be attacked. What? Naruto shouted in shock and fear. That's lock. But not only does a monster lose its ability to attack or be attacked, it can't be tributed for a tribute summon or ritual summon and cannot be used for fusion, synchro or XYZ. Takudo explained before smirking evilly at the end. What? That can't be. Naruto shouted in shock with Marin's eyes widen as well, while Pongal turned to a Kane's locked state in worry. Oh, yes it can. Link Joker seals away everything, that's the power to Link Joker. Takudo shouted as he and his monsters became surrounded by a red and black aura. I told you Link Joker's power is beyond what you imagined. Takudo said before laughing evilly making Naruto grit his teeth together as he turned to a Kane's locked state. Soon Takudo stopped laughing, so now you'll have to deal with a dead slot until a cane is free at the end of your turn, but in the meantime, Raid On attack Marin. Raid On pointed its gun at Marin, when Raid On declares an attack it gains 300 attack points until the end of that battle. 6 at 2200 to 2500 def 1300. Raid On fired a red energy bolt from its gun at Marin, slamming into him and created an explosion, making him shout in pain before he was destroyed. Aya! Naruto screamed in pain from the attack. Naruto. 3100 to 1900. Dusttail Unicorn attacked Pongal. Dusttail raised its horn as a black energy orb appeared. But Dusttail is weaker than Pongal. Naruto shouted, which only made Takudo chuckle. When Dusttail attacks the attack and defense points are swapped. 4 at 1000 to 1800 def 1800 to 1000. What? Dusttail fired a black energy bolt from its horn that slammed into Pongal and created an explosion, making Naruto shield himself. After the battle Dusttail switches to defense mode. Dusttail lowered itself as a blue lining appeared around it. So this is Link Joker huh? Naruto's hair shadowed his eyes before he snapped his gaze towards Takudo, showing his expression is determined, but don't think that'll you'll win just like that. Takudo merely smirked at this, I activate the trap, Royal Paladin, rush and heal. Naruto's face down flipped up, showing Blaster Blade leaping over an injured Marin and Gallatin to protect them with the two injured having a green aura around them. When 2 or more royal paladins are destroyed by battle this, and I take more than 1000 points of damage, I gain life points from one of the monsters that was destroyed. I choose Marin. The blue spirit of Marin appeared, raised his right hand in front of Naruto and healed him. Naruto. 1900 to 3200. And then I get to special summon a royal paladin from my deck. So come forth my avatar, Blaster Blade. Naruto shouted as a blue light shined from his dual disc, flew into the sky, before coming down and collided in front of Naruto as Blaster Blade appeared and swung his sword, before pointing it at Takudo. 7 at 2500 def 2000. Oh, there he is, your ace monster. The one that got you started your path in duel monsters, isn't it? Takudo asked with Naruto not saying a word as Blaster Blade narrowed his eyes slightly, such a shame that your sister destroyed him, Takudo asked in a mockery tone. Naruto gritted his teeth, Blaster Blade's ability activities, when he's normal or special summoned I can destroy one monster on your field. Leave this battle. Raid-on. Blaster Blade pointed the tip of his sword at Raid-on, before the sides of his blade split apart. Burst Buster. Blaster Blade shouted as blue lightning shot out from his sword, slammed into Raid-on, making Raid-on shield itself before it vanished in blue particulars. Takudo was unfazed by his monster vanishing. I set one card face down and end my turn. Takudo said as he finished his turn. My turn I draw. Naruto drew his card, held it in front of him, looking at it, this won't be easy, now that I know what I'm up against. Naruto thought to himself, before glancing at Kane's lock state, but even that I now know what I'm up against, how do I counter it? Naruto thought to himself. I'll just have to go for the offense and take him down as fast as possible. Naruto whispered to himself, before taking another card from his hand. I activate Royal Call. Naruto activated a card showing Soul Saver Dragon in the background, with her wings spread out with a golden light illuminating off the wings as Blaster Blade and Blaster Arrow as next to each other in the foreground. While I have 2 Royal Paladins or a Blaster Blade on my field, I can special summon a Royal Paladin from my hand or deck so long it's a lower level than Blaster Blade. Since he's a level 7 I special summon Royal Paladin, Knight of Loyalty, Bedivere. Blaster Blade pointed his sword towards the sky as Bedivere appeared next to Blaster Blade. 6 at 2000 def 1400. A Knight of Loyalty, Bedivere is special summoned by an effect with Royal in its name. I can add Royal Paladin, Knight of Friendship, K from my deck to my hand. Next I summon Knight of Friendship K. A blue light appeared next to Bedivere as K appeared next to him. 3 at 1500 def 800. When Bedivere and K are on the field at the same time, they gain 500 attack points each. 6 at 2000 to 2500 def 1400, 3 at 1500 to 2000 def 800. Let's go, K attack Mobius Breath. K charged towards Mobius with his sword drawn, ready to end the dragon. I activate Star Barrier Void's effect. K's attack is negated. K swung his sword, only to slam into the barrier protecting Mobius Breath, and it gets another counter. Takudo reminded Naruto as the card had a second black and red ring around the card. Void counter. 1 to 2. That's fine by me, Blaster Blade pick up where K left off. Blaster leaped forward with his sword in both hands with a battle cry. When he came down, he swung his sword downwards, slashing Mobius Breath, making it screech in pain before it was destroyed. Takudo's hair and robe was blown back slightly from the explosion, but other than that, he didn't show any fear or worry at all. Takudo. 4300. Bedivere attacked Dusttail Unicorn. Bedivere leaped with his swords drawn and landed behind Dusttail as he slowly sheathed his sword. When it was fully sheathed, Dusttail exploded. Bedivere jumped away and landed in front of Naruto. I set one card face down and end my turn. Since your turn is over, Akane's lock ends. Takudo said as the lock started to shake before it shattered as Akane was free and landed where she was earlier and now panting slightly. Naruto glanced at Akane, who looked back and nodded her head before they both turned to Takudo. Takudo, cards in hand. 2. Naruto, cards in hand. 4. My turn, draw. Takudo drew his card before he raised his right hand forward. I activate the trap, Void Gift. The trap shows Neon and Raid-on being sucked into a black hole with red rays of energy flying out of the black hole. By banishing 2 Star Vader monsters from my graveyard, I can draw 1 card for every 2 levels of the combined monsters, but I can only normal and special summon Star Vaders for the rest of the turn. So, by banishing Raid-on and Mobius Breath, whose combined levels are 10, I can draw 5 cards. Takudo drew 5 new cards. That's so bad. Naruto thought to himself in worry since he now has 8 cards in his hand, which means he can do so much. Now I summon Star Vader, Black Chains Pleiades. A young person wearing a white cybernetic helmet with a purple visor covering his eyes, but not his nose. He also has purple hair that is coming from behind his helmet and goes down past his shoulders. He is also wearing cybernetic gauntlets that goes up to his elbows, and he has a black mechanical ring around him appeared. 4 at 1300 def 400. When this monster is normal or special summoned, I can special summon a level 4 or lower Star Vader from my graveyard. So, I summon Dust-Tail Unicorn. The mechanical ring detached from around Pleiades before it flew next to him, then it opened a portal and Dust-Tail flew out of it and landed next to Pleiades. 4 at 1000 def 1800. Dust-Tail Unicorn ability allows me to add 1 Star Vader from my deck to my hand. I add another Mobius Breath Dragon. Takudo added his second Mobius Breath to his hand, making Naruto grit his teeth. While I control a Star Vader monster, I can summon Star Vader White Knight Fenrir from my hand. A white mechanical wolf appeared with sharp purple claws, a blade coming out of its front claws. It also has black and red rings around the blades, around its armpits, and on top of a small antenna structure on its back. 4 at 1400 def 800. Next I play the spell card Star Invasion. The card shows Infinite Zero, Raid On and Dust-Tail Unicorn appearing out of a black hole in the sky. This allows me to summon 2 Star Vaders from my hand with different levels in defense mode. So, I summon Star Vader Demon Claw, Lanthanum and Star Vader, Furious Claws, Neobium. 2 monsters appeared kneeling on one knee with their both monsters' arms crossed. 4 at 1500 def 700, 6 at 2000 def 900. Lanthanum is wearing white body armor, but his face is exposed, but the helmet has 3 flames on the top. Flames are also coming out of his knees, both arms has 2 red rings on them, one on the upper arm and lower arm, and he has big red and black energy claws attached to him. Neobium is also wearing white cybernetic armor, but her stomach armor is black on the sides, with a dark yellow on in the center, and she has long silver hair that goes down to her waist. She also is wearing a black mask covering her eyes, but not her mouth. The mask has 3 spikes on the top of her mask. There are also 3 small black and red rings floating on top of her hands, and there is a big black ring with a red pattern behind her. It's time. Takudo said as Naruto and his royal paladins mentally prepared themselves. I use White Knight Fenrir and Black Chains Pleiades and overlay. Takudo shouted as he raised his right arm in the air as Fenrir and Pleiades became 2 black energy particulars and flew into a black galaxy. An XYZ summon. Naruto shouted. Yes, now watch as I summon the dragon of the black and white link. XYZ summon. Appear, rank 4, Star Vader, Infinite Zero Dragon. Takudo shouted as a huge white cybernetic dragon appeared. It's standing on 2 legs. It has a black stomach with red lines on its stomach, with blood red eyes. It has a red horn on its head, with 2 smaller black horns behind it, and 2 more black horns on the side of its head, with yellow lines on the side horns. Its arms also have white armor on it, except for its upper arms where it's black with a red line, and its shoulders have armor as well. Its chest is also having white armor over it as well, but it has a yellow center to the armor and 2 red circles on its chest, making it look like their eyes glaring at the opponent. The wings of this dragon appear to be made out of metal, since there are white rectangles attached to the wing bone, and there's no skin or anything flesh on the wings as well. Its legs look the most mechanical part out of everything, and they look like a robot's legs going 2 up its waist. And there were black and red rings on each wrist, 1 of each upper arm, 1 on its knees, on its ankles, a massive one behind its back, with a smaller one inside that with 2 purple orbs circling it. RNK4 at 2400 def 1600 R2. Naruto's eyes widen at seeing this monster, and he started to feel the pressure from it. What power? Naruto whispered in fear. Oh, trust me Naruto, you haven't seen anything yet. Now I activate the spell card, Start Time Travel. Takudo's card shows the bottom half Infinite Zero, flying into an XYZ portal with the top half of Nebula Lord Dragon. This allows me to summon a Star Vader XYZ monster by using Infinite Zero Dragon and the overlay units attached to it. Takudo explained as Naruto's eyes widen. You're suing Infinite Zero to summon a new XYZ monster. Yes. Now watch as I rebuild the overlay network with Infinite Zero Dragon. Takudo shouted as Infinite Zero became a black ray with red particulars and flew into a black portal. The beast of war arriving from another world sealed the power of their entire army. XYZ summon. Descend. Rank 4 Star Vader Infinite Zero Dragon. Takudo chanted before another Infinite Zero appeared and roared with 3 purple orbs circling it. RNK4 at 2400 def 1600 or 3. Naruto stared at this move, confused more than shocked. Why would he summon the exact same monster? That doesn't make any sense. Naruto thought to himself. I can see you're confused, so allow me to educate you. Takudo said, gaining Naruto's attention. When Infinite Zero is used to summon an XYZ monster, that monster gains 600 attack points. Infinite roared as a black and red aura surrounded it and powered it up. RNK4 at 2400 to 3000 def 1600 aura 3. Naruto gritted his teeth and then select Bedivere, then lock him. Infinite Zero fired the same red and black rings that Mobius fired earlier as Bedivere became surrounded it, making him yell as he went into the lock state and then I select your face down and lock it. Infinite Zero fired another from its claw as it hit Naruto's face down and locked it as well. You can lock face down cards as well. Naruto shouted in shock. Of course. As I said, Link Joker's power is beyond anything you can imagine. And don't forget since Bedivere is in Fasup on the field at the moment, K loses his attack boost. Takudo pointed out as K lost his power boost. 3 at 2000 1500 def 800. Furthermore, each time a card gets locked, Lanthanum and Niobium gain 300 attack and defense points. Since 2 cards were locked, they gain 600 attack and defense points. 4 at 1500 to 2100 def 700 1300, 6 at 2000 to 2600 def 900 1500. Battle. Infinite Zero attack K. Infinite swung its massive claw down on K, crushing it in one blow and making Naruto yell in pain. Naruto. 3200 to 1700. Thus tail attack a cane. When it attacks an opponent's monster its attack and defense point swap. 4 at 1000 to 1800 def 1800 to 1000. Thus Tail fired a black energy bolt from its horn that slammed into a cane making her scream in pain before she exploded making Naruto grit his teeth as he was blow off his feet then floated a few feet away from where he was standing. Naruto. 1700 to 1500. After the battle Dust Tail switches to defense mode. Dust Tail lowered slightly as a blue lining surrounded it. During the end phase Infinite's attack points returned to normal. RNK4 at 3200 def 1600 or 3. Also, Lanthanum and Niobium lose their power boost as well. Takudo continued as his 2 defense position monsters lost their power as well. 4 at 2100 to 1500 def. 1300 700, 6 at 2600 to 2000 def 1500 900. And with that all done, I end my turn. Takudo ended his turn. Naruto slowly got back up, Link Joker it's so powerful. Naruto thought to himself. You know. Takudo said gaining Naruto's attention, you are aware that even if you win the duel, what's to stop your sister from taking your Royal Paladin deck again? Takudo said in a mockery tone making Naruto and Blaster Blade narrowed their eyes at him, but Blaster Blade gritted his teeth at him taunting his partner. You'll just go back to how you were. What'll stop them from taking your cards again and doing the same thing again? Takudo asked as Naruto gritted his teeth, but you know, there's a way you can stop it. Takudo said as Naruto lost his narrowed look with a confused and curious look. You've seen the power of Link Joker and you can feel that power it possesses. What if I told you that you could wield this power? Takudo told him. Naruto's eyes widened in surprise and shock, what? Naruto gasped. Takudo opened his arms to his field, you could wield the power of Link Joker. Link Joker is a deck that chooses their duelist to wield them, and we've chosen you. Takudo said as him and all of his monsters became surrounded by a black and red aura. Naruto stared at him as a spirit version of Takudo appeared behind him, you value strength and power in duel monsters. If your parents weren't always looking at your sisters, they would see that you are a prodigy in duel monsters, and only for a 10-year-old, your dueling skills are superb, much better than anyone your age. You know what move to make, when to make it and able to counter anything that your opponent throws at you. Imagine yourself with Link Joker. Imagine what you can accomplish with their power under you. You could crush your sisters without any trouble at all, you would make them suffer like they made you suffer for so long. Imagine it, imagine it. The spirit Takudo explained before shouted at the end. Naruto gritted his teeth as the spirit Takudo vanished. Stop it. Naruto shouted as he drew his card from his deck, it's true, I do value strength and power in duel monsters, yes, but the thing I value above all in duel monsters is teamwork. Because in a duel, the duelist has to work together with their deck, otherwise, it's no better than servants doing their master's bidding. Naruto explained as Takudo continued to smirk at him, I summon Royal Paladin, Barkle. 3 at 900 def 1200. I activate Barkle's ability, by discarding one card from my hand, I can special summon either Royal Paladin, Flogel, or Royal Paladin, Future Knight, Lu. So, I discard one card to summon Flogel. 3 at 1500 def 500. And I can use Barkle's ability again, so long as I summon the other one, so I discard another card to summon Future Knight, Lu. 3 at 800 def 1300. Then I activate Blessing of the Royal King. The artwork showed Alfred standing in front of his throne, with Blaster Blade, Marin and Gallatin, kneeling in front of him as a royal light surrounded the 3 of them. When I can 3 of more Royal Paladins on my field, I target 3 of them, and they either gain 1000 attacks points each, or their levels increase or decrease by 1, 2 or 3. And I have Barkle, Flojil and Lu increase all their levels by 2. Naruto shouted as a blue light surrounded Barkle, Flojil and Lu as their levels increased. 3 to 5, x3. Now I use Barkle, Flojil and Lu and overlay. All 3 monsters became golden rays of energy and flew into a blue portal before it exploded. The knight that gives power to the royal paladins that rides on your steed with white wings, descend onto the battlefield and lead us to victory. XYZ summon. Appear rank 5. Solitary knight, Gancelet. Gancelet rode his Pegasus out of the portal and speared in the sky, releasing a bright white glow before it landed next to Blaster Blade with 3 golden orbs circling him. RNK5 at 3000 def 2500 or 3. Gancelet's ability, while he's on the field all blaster monsters gain 500 attacks and defense points and they can inflict piercing damage. Naruto shouted as Blaster Blade became surrounded by a blue aura and raised his sword. 7 ATK 2500 to 3000 def 2000 to 2500. Now I use one of Gancelet's overlay units to activate his other ability. Gancelet raised his sword in the air as one of his overlay units flew into the sword as blue particulars flew out of his sword. He allows me to summon a royal paladin from my deck so long as it has a different name than what I currently control, but that monster can't attack directly this turn. So, I summon. Blaster Arrow. 6 at 2100 def 1500. And Gancelet also powers up Blaster Arrow as well. Naruto shouted as Blaster Arrow became surrounded by the same blue aura as Blaster Blade. 6 ATK 2100 to 2600 def 1500 to 2000. Let's go. Blaster Arrow attacked Dust Tail. Blaster Arrow took aim at Dust Tail, pulled back her bow as the tip glowed blue before she shot her arrow as it flew towards Dust Tail. Takudo did nothing as the arrow slammed into Dust Tail and exploded as Takudo's clothes and hair blew from the explosion, but he kept smirking with his eyes closed. Takudo. 3300 to 2500. He didn't use Star Barrier Void's effect. He's saving it to use it on his Infinite Zero. Naruto thought to himself, no matter. Your dragon is still going down. Gancelet attack Infinite Zero. Gancelet reined his steed as it flew towards the dragon, with his sword drawn and ready to slash it. Thanks to Star Barrier Void effect Gancelet's attack is negated and it gets another counter. Gancelet swung his sword only to have him slash the barrier that protected Infinite Zero. Void counter. 2 to 3. That's fine, also that power that Link Joker possess, Blaster Blade attack Infinite Zero. Naruto slightly hesitated before he pointed at Infinite Zero as Blaster Blade leaped towards the dragon. That power, it isn't mine. Naruto shouted as Blaster Blade released a war cry as he prepared to stab Infinite Zero. Naruto heard Takudo chuckling, you know you really are a good duelist, especially for one as young as you. However, you never had a chance against me. Takudo said as Naruto's eyes widen, I activate the trap, Star Counter Battle. Takudo shouted as his card flipped face up showing Nebula Lord in the air in the foreground with Radon behind Nebula Lord, firing black lightning from its right hand towards the ground with a badly injured Black Luster Solider. This card activates when you attack a Star Vader monster, while I control a Star Vader XYZ, that attack is negated. Takudo said. What? Blaster Blade slammed his sword into a force field surrounding Infinite Zero before sending him away and landed where he was making him grit his teeth. And then, I can special summon a Star Vader from my deck with less attack points from my deck than the monster that just attacked. I summon Prison Gate Star Vader, Palladium, 4 at 1700 def 800. The young man wearing black cybernetic armor appeared. He has short purple hair that stand up, he is wearing a black cybernetic headset that shields his eyes, and is also carrying a massive black and red cybernetic sword. Naruto gritted his teeth in frustration as Takudo laughed, well? You got anything else? Takudo taunted Naruto as he growled. I end my turn. Naruto said with his eyes closed at the end in annoyance as the locks on Bedivere and his face down were unlocked. As I said, you certainly are a great duelist, such a shame that your parents don't see it or love you for that matter. Takudo said. What did you say? Naruto shouted in rage at him, which only made Takudo chuckle at him. Your family doesn't care about you. Your parents, sister, not even your godparents, and do you know why? Shut up. It's because that they don't see you as one of their own, they don't care about you, they only care about Mito and Mitsuko because they are their special children. They do care. Naruto shouted at him. Takudo chuckled at his naiveness, oh really? If they cared about you, why would they let your sister take your cards? Mito and her friends took your whole deck and ripped every last card too, even your avatar, and your other sister barely talks to you, she won't say it since she doesn't think you're worth the effort since she also hates you as well. Takudo said in a dark tone. Shut up, shut up, shut up, shut up. Naruto whispered before he shouted in pure rage at Takudo. Oh, did I hit a nerve? Takudo asked in a fake surprised tone as Naruto stared at Takudo with pure hatred while Naruto's monsters looked at their wielder in worry, but I think it's time we ended this. Final turn. Takudo declared, making Naruto forget his anger with his eyes widen in surprise. Naruto, cards in hand. 1. Takudo, cards in hand. 2. Draw. Takudo drew his card before raising his right hand forward. Palladium effect activities. When my opponent's card gets unlocked during their end phase, Palladium destroys itself to relock that card. I relock Bedivere. Bedivere yelled as he was relocked, making Naruto grit his teeth as he glanced at the locked Bedivere. Since Lanthanum and Niobium are still on the field, they gain 300 attack and defense points. 4 at 1500 to 1800 def 700 1000, 6 at 2000 to 2300 def 900 1200. Infinite Zero Dragon's effect activities. During the standby phase, Infinite Zero can summon a Star Vader XYZ from my extra deck by using Infinite Zero as the material and its overlay units attached to the new monster. Infinite Zero has the same effect as Star Time Travel. Naruto shouted in shock. Yes. Now watch as I build the overlay network with Infinite Zero Dragon once again. Infinite flew into a black portal that soon exploded. Give mercy to those who have fallen in despair. And spread your dark power across the universe. XYZ summon. Appear. Rank 4 Star Vader Nebula Lord Dragon. RNK 4 at 2600 def 2000 Oru 4. Unlike the last dragon, this one is completely black and grey all around, but it also has blood red eyes and red lining throughout its body as well. Its shoulder blade armor has carve-outs of skulls on each shoulder. It has a big black horn on its forehead with red lining on it, and 4 black and grey horns on the side of his head with a red lining on the top horns. It also has a yellow crystal on its chest. It has 4 mechanical black half rings behind it with a small red lining on each half ring and 2 black and red circles on each half ring, one smaller one inside the bigger circle. Naruto's eyes widen in fear when he saw this new monster, Infinite Zero's ability. Nebula Lord gains 600 attack points. Nebula Lord roared as a red and black aura surrounded it and powered it up. RNK 4 at 2600 to 3200 def 2000 Aura 4. And then lock 2 cards. Lock Ganselit and your face down. Nebula raised its right hand before it fired 2 lock rings at Ganselit and Naruto's face down before they both got locked as Ganselit grunted before he was locked. Don't forget, each time a card gets locked, Lanthanum and Niobium gain 300 attack and defense points. Takudo reminded as the 2 mentioned monsters gained more power. 4 at 1800 to 2400 def 1000 to 1600, 6 at 2300 to 2900 def 1200 to 1800. And I think I'll switch both of them into attack mode. Lanthanum and Niobium rose up so that they are standing now. Nebula Lord's ability. By detaching 2 overlay units, I target 1 card on your field and lock it. I lock Blaster Arrow. 2 orbs flew into Nebula Lord's chest. Nebula Lord aimed its hand at Blaster Arrow, then it fired the black and red rings at her and locked her now. RNK 4 at 3200 def 2000 Aura 4-2. Another 300 attack and defense points to Lanthanum and Niobium. Takudo said as the 2 powered up again. 4 at 2400 to 2700 def 1600 to 1900, 6 at 2900 to 3200 def 1800 to 2100. But why stop? When I can do it again. The last 2 orbs flew into Nebula's Lord's chest before it aimed its hand at the only target as Naruto's eyes widen in fear. RNK 4 at 3200 def 2000 Aura 2-0. Lock Blaster Blade. Nebula Lord fired the black and red rings before it hit him, making him grunt in pain. Blaster Blade. Naruto shouted with tears flowing out of his eyes as Blaster Blade turned back to him before closing his eyes as he was locked. Naruto stared at the locked Blaster Blade before he slowly turned to his dual disc. All of my cards are. Naruto couldn't even finish his sentence as he stared at his field in shock, worry and fear as Lanthanum and Niobium powered up again. 4 at 2700 to 3000 def 1900 to 2200, 6 at 3200 to 3500 def 2100 to 2400. Battle. Takudo said, gaining Naruto's attention as he turned to him and saw a dark smirk on his face. Nebula Lord's other ability activates. During my battle phase, all Star Vader monsters gain 300 attack points for each locked cards on your field. Takudo said. What? Naruto shouted in shock and fear. Since you have 5 locked cards, all of my monsters gain 1500 attack points. Takudo shouted as all of his monsters became surrounded by a black and red aura. RNK 4 at 3200 to 4700 def 2000 Aura 0, 4 at 3000 to 4500 def 2200, 6 at 3500 to 5000 def 2400. Naruto took a step back in fear as all the bodies of all of Takudo's monsters became surrounded in darkness, only the red and black aura surrounding them and their eyes that are glowing blood red can be seen. As I said, this power is beyond your imagination. Takudo shouted before the red and black aura flew out of him and flew towards Naruto, making him shield himself from the aura. Soon Naruto no longer felt the aura pushing against him before he uncovered himself, looked forward only to see he wasn't where he was earlier. He was in a forest standing opposite Mito and Natsumi, with their dual discs activated and their ace monsters on their fields: Gold Paladin, Incandescent Lion, Blonde Ezel and Aqua Force, Blue Storm Dragon, Maelstrom. Naruto narrowed his eyes in anger at seeing them. Mito, Natsumi. Naruto said in rage, before he looked at the cards he's holding, then the cards on his dual disc, and finally the monsters on his field, as his eyes widen in shock and surprise. Link Joker. Naruto shouted, due to the fact that his field is the exact same as the person he was dueling against just then. Suddenly a card popped out of Naruto's extra deck slot, as he grabbed it and looked at it. This is Naruto whispered to himself looking at Nebula Lord Dragon. If you Nebula Lord, you'll be able to beat them, not only that, but you'll crush them underneath your foot. A voice said from Naruto's mind as the mention continued to stare at the card as a large dark figure with glowing red eyes appeared behind him. Crush them, Naruto whispered to himself. Don't let this one and only chance you have slip away. Play that card and show them what you're made of. What I'm made of, Naruto whispered again, now starting to consider it. Play it. Play it. Play it and show the world what you're made of. Show everyone who casted you aside what they missed out on. The voice whispered before shouting, before it vanished, as Naruto's eyes widened as he raised the card in the air, before his body became surrounded by a black and red aura. This is power. Naruto thought to himself with a dark smirk as the end, XYZ summon. Appear. Star Vader, Nebula Lord Dragon. Infinite Zero roared before Nebula Lord appeared. Block. Naruto shouted as all of Mito and Natsuko monsters started yelling and grunting in pain, before they got locked. Attack. Naruto shouted. Nebula Lord raised its hands at both sisters before it fired red and black lightning at the pair, slamming into both of them before it created an explosion, making them both scream in pain before they were erased from existence. Naruto stared at where they were for a bit as tears came out of his eyes. I just destroyed my sisters. Naruto whispered to himself as he started crying for a bit until Naruto started to laugh before he burst out laughing. After a bit he calmed down. So this is what it's like letting go of your emotions, huh? That's right. The same voice from earlier said as Naruto turned around as he saw the shadow for the first time. Who are you? Naruto asked. I am one of the Star Vader monsters in the deck, you'll see who I am soon enough. But those two that you erased weren't real, you know that, right? The shadow asked. Yeah, I had a feeling, they went down too easy. Naruto replied. If you master Link Joker, then no one will stand in your way, and with us by your side we'll be invincible. The shadow shouted, making Naruto nod his head in response. Now you'll return to where you were before. The shadow shouted as a red and black aura came from behind and engulfed Naruto as he blacked out. Naruto laid on the ground where he was facing the sky as the rain continued to pour on him, causing him to slowly open his eyes before he sat upwards. Naruto looked around as he rubbed his head. Was it a dream? Naruto asked to himself before he noticed a black box in front of him. He reached for it, picked it up, opened the box, saw a deck of cards, pulled one card out as his eyes widened in surprise when he saw the card, so it wasn't a dream. Naruto whispered in shock as he stared at what was inside the box. It was a deck of cards with the first one being Infinite Zero Dragon. Naruto closed the box. As he stood up, he went to leave until he spotted some of his cards. They were Barkle, Little Sage Marin, Knight of Silence Gallatin and Blaster Blade. They were all ripped in half, thanks to that bitch of a sister of his. He walked over to him, picked the ripped cards as he stared at them, until a red and black aura surrounded him as the cards repaired themselves and changed them as well, making him smirk evilly, then put the cards in the box before walking home. Once home, he managed to avoid his family as he walked into the shower, had a quick shower since he didn't want to catch a cold before heading to his room, took the cards out of the box and proceeded to build the best deck from these cards. Naruto took time to read and reread every card that was given to him in order to see which cards work with which cards and making sure that he doesn't leave any weakness unaccounted for. He even tested a few different builds with Link Joker to see if the deck works. He did have to rebuild it a few times. But after hours of work, he was finally finished and he is staring at the final and newly built deck with a dark smirk on his face. I think I need to find a strong opponent to test the limit of this deck. But I know I won't find one here. But I know of some good guinea pigs that will be perfect for this deck's test run. Naruto thought to himself before he got ready for bed and slept ready for tomorrow and to show the world the terror and power of Link Joker. Namika's Uzumaki estate. Hashina Uzumaki was in the kitchen working on dinner for her family. She soon heard the door creaking open and looked out to see her son Naruto walking inside drenched from the rain. Naruto? Where have you been? Kushina shouted, catching the attention of the rest of the family. Sitting in the living room was Natsumi, the eldest of the Namika's siblings. She watched as her younger twins walk in, his eyes are covered by the bangs of his hair. Naruto didn't respond, walking past his mother up the stairs. "Naruto, Namika's, you answer me when I'm speaking to you," Kushina said, taking hold of Naruto's arm. Naruto only slightly turned his head, causing Kushina to step back, holding her chest, looking at her, shaking a bit, looking into her son's once bright blue eyes to see them dull and nearly emotionless. Naruto turned and saw Mito also staring at him. She flinched when she saw the coldness in his eyes. Naruto said nothing further as he walked up the steps towards his room. Naruto locked the door to his room before walking over towards the window as rain continued to fall. He reached into his pocket, revealing his new deck, which radiated with a blazing red-black aura. Naruto narrowed his eyes as he clenched his deck tightly, as his eyes slowly changed from their usual blue to crimson red. "After everything this hellhole put me through, I'm done with it," Naruto said. "So, you're thinking of leaving, Naruto?" The voice of Nebula Lord stated, appearing over Naruto. "No, just not until I've made those who hurt me suffer and say goodbye to the ones I care about," Naruto said sadly. "Are you certain this is the path you wish to take? With the power you wield now, you can become the strongest duelist Konoha has ever seen," Nebula Lord stated. "Maybe, but knowing the people here, they just make up some excuses about me cheating or demand my deck so it can be given to the public. I won't allow that. I won't let the power of Link Joker fall into the hands of scum," Naruto said. "Whatever your decision, we will follow you," Nebula Lord replied before vanishing. Naruto searched through his deck until he came across a certain card. "You'll soon be able to rampage and tear apart everyone in your way, Chaos Breaker," Naruto uttered. "We'll have those fools in the palm of our hand." A silhouette of a large dragon formed behind Naruto with menacing red eyes as he held up a large scythe over his shoulder. Chapter 2. When morning came, Naruto got ready for his last day of school. Before leaving this hellhole, he already packed everything that he needed, not that he had much in the first place. And he already finished writing letters to the few people who cared for him. He ate breakfast on his own before heading to school. He sat down in the back of the classroom and went over his new deck, making sure he got everything just right. More and more people showed up, making the room louder and louder since they were all talking on top of each other, but Naruto merely blocked the sound out. "Alright class, listen up," Haruka shouted as he walked in the classroom, but no one heard him. "Listen up, you lit brats." Haruka shouted much louder as his head grew, which made the class shut up. "Much better, okay. For today's lesson, you're lucky since it's a dueling class today," Haruka said as the class cheered, apart from Naruto, who merely stared at his teacher. Haruka chuckled at his class's reaction. "Alright, and I already made a list of who will face who, and first up it's Naruto against Kiba," Haruka said. "Yahoo!" Kiba shouted as he turned and gave the blonde hair boy a smug smirk. "Getting ready to lose? Just make sure you don't go crying to your mummy," Kiba shouted as the class laughed at his words, except for Hinata, who glared at him, and Naruto, who just stared at him. Then everyone was outside with Kiba and Naruto facing off each other. Kiba inserted his deck and gave Naruto another smug smirk. "Well, loser. Where's your deck? Don't tell me you lost it," Kiba asked in a smug tone as Mito, Ino and Sakura giggled at that, while Natsumi raised an eyebrow, confused. Naruto just stared at him as he held a deck of cards in his right hand as a small red and black aura surrounded the deck. "What does this look like?" Naruto asked, surprising Mito, Kiba, Ino and Sakura, since there's no way that's his Royal Paladin deck. Kiba shook his head. "Doesn't matter, I'm still gonna crush you like the pest you are," Kiba shouted as Naruto inserted his deck into his dual disc as it shuffled. Haruka walked up. "Alright, you both ready?" Haruka asked as the two boys nodded. "Then begin," Haruka shouted as Naruto and Kiba both drew 5 cards. Duel," Naruto said while Kiba shouted. "Alphas first," Kiba announced as he draws. "I summon out Assault Dog in attack mode. 4 at 1200 def 800. I end my turn, now let's see what you've got, Namika's disgrace," Kiba taunted, earning a glare from Hinata. Naruto was unfazed by that comment and drew his card, looked at it before putting it in his hand and grabbed a new card. "I summoned Star Vader Dust-Tail Unicorn," Naruto said as Dust-Tail appeared in front of him. 4 at 1000 def 1800. "Star Vader," Kiba remarked. Everyone else looked on with confusion, having never seen or even heard of this archetype before. And he wasn't the only one. Everyone stared at Naruto's new monster with curious expressions on their faces. While Shikamaru looked at it with a narrowed expression. "I don't like the look of that monster," he thought to himself. "What the heck is that?" Kiba asked. "Link Joker," Naruto answered. "Link Joker?" Natsumi uttered while staring at the card her younger brother had played, sensing a strong and dangerous aura from that card. "Where'd he get a deck like that, Natsumi?" Mito asked, but her sister didn't answer for a bit as she kept staring at Naruto's new monster. Mito lightly punched her sister's shoulder, bringing her attention to her. "What?" Natsumi asked. "I asked, where did he get that card from?" Mito repeated, a bit annoyed that she ignored her. Natsumi was in thought for a bit, but answering, "I don't know, sis." Natsumi said to her sister before they both turned back to the duel, while Natsumi stared at Naruto's monster again. "When did he get that, and why is it giving me the shivers?" Natsumi thought to herself. Dusk-tail Unicorn's ability activates. When this monster is summoned, I can add a Star Vader monster from me deck to my hand. I add Star Vader White Knight Fenrir from my hand, and while I control a Star Vader monster other than Fenrir, I can summon it from my hand. Naruto said as White Knight Fenrir appeared next to Dusk-tail. 4 at 1400 def 800. I used Dusk-tail Unicorn and White Knight Fenrir to build the overlay network. Naruto shouted as he raised his right hand in the air as Dusk-tail and Fenrir became purple rays of light as a black portal appeared above him as they flew into the portal. An XYZ summon. Kiba shouted in shock, with the watches also surprised that Naruto can XYZ summon. XYZ summon. The dragon that is the link between black and white. Descend onto the battlefield and show everyone your terror. Appear. Rank 4, Star Vader, Infinite Zero Dragon. Infinite appeared and roared loudly, showing it's ready to fight with 2 purple orbs circling it. RNK 4 at 2400 def 1600 Oru 2. Suddenly a shiver ran down the backs of all the students as they looked upon the Link Joker XYZ monster, radiating with fearsome energy. "Big deal, you think I'm scared of some dumb lizard?" Kiba shouted, confident that he can beat it. Naruto smirked, "Keep up that brave face, it'll make crushing you even more fun." Naruto said with a dark smirk that made Kiba slightly nervous, but quickly shook it off. However, the bystanders don't share the same attitude as Kiba, most are looking at Infinite Zero in fear and shock, but mostly fear. What is that?" Natsuko asked in fear as she took a step back slightly. "I have no idea, this dragon, I feel a terrifying presence from it." Mito said with sudden fear as well, with Natsuko nodding in agreement with her sister. Naruto noticed his sister's reactions, which only made his smirk increased. "If they are this scared now, then I can't wait to see their looks when they see Link Joker's real power. But for now," Naruto thought to himself before turning his attention back to Kiba. Battle, Infinite Zero attack Assault Dog. Infinite roared as it flew to Assault Dog. Once it was above it, it flew down, slammed its claws into Assault Dog's back, making it roar in pain before it exploded, sending Kiba back. Kiba. 4800. Big mistake, failure when an Assault Dog is destroyed. I'm able to call 2 new hounds to join my pack. Kiba shouted as 2 more dogs appeared growling off at Naruto, only for Infinite Zero to glare down at them. 4 at 1200 def 800, x2. I'll go down the same way, I set 2 cards face down and end my turn. Naruto placed 2 cards face down, ending his turn. "If you think that this new deck will intimidate me, then you're sorely mistaken. It'll lose the same way." Kiba taunted. Naruto smirked, "If you think you can, then do it." Naruto dared as his body became surrounded by a red and black aura, along with Infinite Zero, surprising everyone when they saw this. "Sister, and Naruto is acting differently," Mito said to her sister. "Why, yeah, you're right," Natsumi replied. "But did we go too far?" Mito thought to herself. "Show me, Kiba. Show me if you can bring out Link Joker's power." Naruto shouted with Infinite Zero roaring, showing it's ready. Kiba sweated a bit before he shook his head and regained his smug expression at Naruto's challenge. "Oh, I'll show you, alright." Kiba drew his card before adding it to his hand. "Now I'm gonna overlay my 2 level 4 Assault Dogs." Kiba shouted, a red vortex appeared, drawing in both monsters as orange energy. "IXYZ summon. Say hello to my Sumo King dog." A large black and orange canine, a white rope wrapped around its neck, followed by 4 black legs with gold spike collars, red and gold fabrics draped over a black body. RNK 4 at 2600 def 2100 Oru 2. Next, I'll play double summon, now I can bring out 2 Gene Warped Werewolves. Gene Warped appeared and released a battle cry. 4 at 2000 def 100. "How's this, loser? Not only is my dog king stronger than that sorry looking dragon, but both my wolves have 2000 attack points, which means you're done." Kiba declared with a smirk, knowing that he'll be able to win and wants to see the look of fear on Naruto's face. But it wasn't what he was expecting. He expected him to be afraid, but instead, he still has that dark smirk on his face. "Then come at me if you think you can end it here, I'll give you this one chance to prove it." Naruto said, holding up one finger. "1 turn, you get 1 turn to end this, do you have the courage?" "Do I have the courage? I'll show you, Dog King attack." Kiba shouted as his dog stomped his feet, charging at Naruto and his Link Joker dragon. "I activate the quick play spell card, Star Vader Interception." The card showed Raidon and Neo about to take an attack that was aimed at Dusk-tail and White Knight Fenrir. When this card is activated, when you declare an attack on my Star Vader monsters, I can special summon a Star Vader monster from my hand and then you have to attack that monster. So, I summon Unrivaled Star Vader Radon in defense mode. Naruto summoned the monster as it appeared in front of Infinite Zero with its arms crossed. 6 at 2200 def 1300. Sumo Dog King slammed its paw into Radon as it destroyed it in a sparkle of yellow particulars. Biba's Werewolf won't be able to attack since it has lower attack points than Naruto's dragon. Shikamaru said with Choji nodding in agreement. Well, I thought you were going to defeat me. You got anything else, Kiba? Naruto asked in a mockery tone with his dark smirk growing slightly more. Kiba gritted his teeth against each other. I set one card face down and I end my turn. Kiba uttered looking down in slight defeat before he looked at his face down. Don't worry, you can still win. If this loser somehow increases his dragon's attack points and attack my Dog King, then my mirror force will destroy it and next turn, I'll be able to win and I'll show Hinata who the real man and alpha is. Kiba thought to himself, slightly dejected that he couldn't win this turn and show Hinata that he's the real alpha. Naruto grew a dark smirk. I gave you that opportunity to win and you couldn't. How did it feel seeing all that arrogance crumble away into despair? Naruto asked in a mockery tone before his body became surrounded by a red and black aura that gave everyone the shivers. Final turn. Naruto shouted. Everyone became surprised by the aura and his declare. My turn, draw. Naruto drew his card but added it to his hand without even looking at it. Infinite Zero Dragon's effect activities during my standby phase. While Infinite Zero is Fasup on my field, I can summon a Star Vader XYZ from my extra deck by using Infinite Zero as the material and its overlay units attached to the new monster. You're using Infinite to summon a new monster. Kiba shouted in shock with the others watching in shock and surprise as well. That's right, now watch as I rebuild the overlay network with Infinite Zero. Naruto shouted as Infinite Zero roared before it became a ray of black energy as a black galaxy appeared above it. Give mercy to those who end up in despair. And spread the dark power that you wield across the universe. XYZ summon. Descend. Rank 4. Star Vader, Nebula Lord Dragon. Nebula Lord appeared and roared loudly, making everyone cower their ears with 3 purple orbs circling around the new dragon. RNK 4 at 2600 def 2000 or 3. When Nebula Lord stopped screeching, everyone uncovered their ears and looked at Nebula Lord in fear. Kiba is now shaking in fear as Nebula Lord glared at him with a red and black aura around its body, while Kiba stared back in fear and making him take a step back. The bystanders were no different, they are all staring at Nebula Lord in fear as it released a cold feeling, along with a sense of dread as well. What is that? Choji asked in fear as he stopped mid-bite and dropped his bag of chips. I don't know. Shikamaru replied in fear as well. How did that loser get a card like that? Ino asked with wide eyes and in fear as she started to sweat. He probably stole it, yeah he must've. Sakura said in fear along with sweating as well, while agreeing with Ino on that, but it didn't shake the fear inside of them. Hinata looked over at Naruto clenching the front of her shirt with worry in her eyes. Hinata remembers Naruto always had a happy, warmth and caring aura around him whenever he used his Royal Paladin deck, but now it felt cold, empty, anger and sadness. Why? What happened to you, Naruto-kun? Hinata thought to herself. Itsumi and Mito also stared at Naruto's new monster in fear. What is that? Mito shouted in shock as she pointed at Nebula Lord with a shaky hand. I don't know. Nitsumi replied in equal amount of fear in her as well, along with the coldest feeling she ever felt in her life. Infinite Zero Dragon ability. Naruto shouted, gaining everyone's attention. When Infinite Zero is used to summon a Star Vader XYZ monster, that monster gains 600 attack points and then I choose 2 cards on your field and lock them. Naruto shouted as Nebula Lord roared as it powered up. RNK 4 at 2600 to 3200 def 2000 or 3. Lock. Kiba asked with everyone else wondering the same thing. I lock Sumo Dog King and your face down. Naruto pointed with his index and middle finger as 2 lock rings at Sumo Dog King and Kiba's face down. Everyone watched as the rings hit their targets as Sumo Dog King howled in pain before it and Kiba's face down entered the lock state. Everyone stared at the locked cards in shock. What the hell? Kiba asked in shock as he stared at his locked Sumo Dog King before he looked at his duel disc and saw that his XYZ monster is face down. Then Kiba went to touch it but the card zapped him. Son of a, Kiba shouted in pain as he shook his hand in pain before turning back to Naruto with a glare. What is the meaning of this loser? Kiba demanded, making Naruto chuckle before he went to a full-blown laugh, making everyone turn to him. Once Naruto stopped laughing, he turned to Kiba. This is Link Joker's power. The power to seal away the opponent. That is called lock. Naruto answered as everyone was confused, surprised and with fearful expression. When a card gets locked, that card cannot be used. Naruto explained, surprising everyone. What? Kiba shouted in shock. Locked spells and trap cards cannot be activated. Locked monsters cannot be attacked, targeted by card effect, or destroyed by card effects either. Naruto explained, making everyone's eyes wide open in fear. No way. Kiba shouted. Naruto chuckled darkly, yes way. In addition to that, locked monsters cannot be used for attribute summon, ritual, fusion, synchro or XYZ. It's basically a dead zone. Naruto finished explaining as everyone's eyes wide open in shock and surprise. That can't be. Kiba shouted as he looked at his locked sumo dog king. Oh yes it can, but don't worry, since locked cards will get unlocked during the end of your turn, but I don't think you'll be around for that to happen, after all, this is the final turn. Nebula Lord's ability, be detaching 2 overlay units, I lock 1 monster on your field, I lock Gene Warped Warwolf. Naruto shouted as Nebula Lord absorbed 2 purple orbs into its chest, then raised its hand over Warwolf, then it fired the black and red rings at it, unlocked it. RNK4 Act 3200 Def 2000 or 31. Everyone was shocked that all of Kiba's cards are locked, battle. Naruto said, gaining everyone back to Naruto. During the battle phase, Nebula Lord gives all Star Vader monsters 300 attack points for each locked card on my opponent's field. Since you have 3, Nebula Lord gained 900 attack points. Naruto said as Nebula Lord became surrounded by a red and black aura. RNK4 Act 3200 to 4100 Def 2000 or 1. And since I can't attack your monsters, that leaves only one target you. Naruto said darkly with his dark smirk as Nebula Lord raised its hand at Kiba. No, www Kiba said in fear as he took a step back. Yes way, Nebula Lord attack him directly. Void lightning. Nebula Lord fired black lightning from its hand at Kiba, slamming into him, making him scream in pain as he flew back and crashed into the ground with a slightly burned marks, and his clothes are burnt as well. Kiba 2800-0. Winner. Naruto. Winner, Naruto Uzumaki Namikaze. Iruka declared as he stuttered a bit. All of the cards vanished when Naruto was declared the winner and everyone is staring at what just happened. Iruka checked on Kiba, saw that he's unconscious, and much to his shock, a lot of his cards got burned so badly that they are unrecognizable. Naruto. Iruka shouted as the blonde turned to him. You destroyed Kiba's cards. Iruka shouted, shocking everyone, what do you have to say for yourself? Iruka shouted. Every action has a reaction. Naruto stated in a cold manner, shocking everyone that he doesn't even care that he destroyed someone's deck. Iruka raised an eyebrow as his words, I don't know what that means, but you are forbidden from dueling for the rest of the day and expect to come here tomorrow with your parents to talk punishment. Iruka stated as Naruto merely shrugged his shoulders before turning and walked away. Naruto sat under a tree away from everyone who are now looking at him with fear, but with Sakura and Ino's cases pissed off of what he did to their friend. Natsumi and Mito are also staring at their brother, with Natsumi narrowed her eyes, while Mito is now actually afraid of her brother. The rest of the duels continued and it was the end of the day. Right as Iruka was about to call out to Naruto, he vanished. Where did Naruto go? Iruka asked as the rest of the students turned to where he sits, only finding that he's gone. Iruka sighed, no matter, I'll visit him tomorrow. Alright class, dismiss. Iruka said as the class walked out. Night fell over Konoha in the park. Sakura and Ino were talking with each other about what had gone on at school. Did you hear about Kiba? Apparently, he's going to be in the hospital for 3 days. Ino said. Were his injuries really that bad? Sakura said, shocked as her friend nodded. Both of them began to worry for their own safety, recalling their own part to play in bullying Naruto yesterday, and became very concerned for their own well-being. Do you think Naruto will come after us next? Sakura asked, worried. Don't be so scared, Sakura. So he got a new deck and managed to beat Kiba, but it doesn't mean he'd be able to beat us. Heck, he wouldn't stand a chance against us at the same time. Ino smirked. Is that a fact? A voice called out. Both girls tensed up as they turned and saw Naruto leaning against a nearby lamppost with a dark smirk on his face. And Naruto? The girls cried out. I settled my score with Kiba, now you two are the next ones on my list. Naruto said as he activated his dual disc. Ino growled and glared at the blonde-whiskered young teen. You let one win go to your head and you suddenly think you can beat us. Don't make me laugh, we'll teach you to respect your betters. New deck or not? Ino shouted, putting on a purple dual disc with Sakura having a pink one as she secretly messaged Mito on her dual disc where they are and that Naruto is about to duel them. Why yeah, you actually think you can take on the both of us? Sakura asked, but she seemed to be slightly afraid and less confident than Ino is. I have no doubt about that. Naruto replied confidently as a red and black aura surrounded him. Fine, then hope you're ready to lose failure. Ino shouted. Duel. The three shouted. Naruto. 4000. Ino. 4,000. Sakura. 4,000. I'd say ladies first, but I don't think you two fit, so I'll start things off. I summon Dust-Tail Unicorn. Naruto called as Dust-Tail clacked its hooves on the ground, get ready to be in a world of pain. Naruto shouted. Namika's residence. Kushina was humming away cooking her signature ramen for dinner. As she cooked her thoughts came to her son. His behavior today was odd. He'd been silent the whole morning, and when he'd come home, he didn't even give her or Minato a glance and simply went to his room. The more she thought the more came to realize she didn't really know much about her little maelstrom. She and Minato had spent a great deal of their time teaching Mito and Natsumi how to master the Gold Paladin and Aqua Force decks passed down their family lines. Kushina frowned realizing that these actions may have driven a wedge in their family. Her hands moved to her tummy rubbing it lightly she smiled. I hope you can bring our family together again little one. Kushina smiled, after feeling sick for several days she went to Tsunade, who revealed she was pregnant, shocking her. She looked over at the calendar, the triplets' birthday was coming up soon, that would be the day she reveals to them that she was pregnant with their fourth sibling. She hoped this would bring her children together to help their take care and raise their sibling. Itsumi was in her room looking over her deck diligently thinking over new strategies to play when her mind thought back to school today and the new deck her brother came to possess. It held a dangerous dark aura, that wasn't all she felt a change in her bro his heart was filled with rage and anger. She also knew that her younger sister had a hand in this. She looked out the corner of her window and saw Mito running out of the house with a worried and panicked expression on her face. Mito, what have you done? Natsumi asked before she gathered her deck together before running out to the house to follow her sister. Konoha Park. Naruto. 3200. Ino. 1900. Sakura. 2200. Ino and Sakura stood panting with Naruto standing across from them. The duel had been going on a few minutes, both Ino and Sakura had managed to summon out their ace monsters. Sakura had a Ramage Bergamot 2400-1800 and Ino had just summoned out Queen of Thorns. Naruto had Mobius Breath Dragon, Dust-Tail Unicorn, and Infinite Zero Dragon. Sakura's Cauldron of the Old Man and Aroma Garden were both locked at was Ino's Gigaplant. Now it was Naruto's move he calmly drew his card and felt a hand on his shoulder. Now it's time to finish this. Naruto paused looking behind him to see a massive figure hiding behind him. Let me out Naruto, let me out so that I can send this fool into the deepest pits of hell. The dragon said as his eyes flashed causing Naruto to smirk. Okay then, since you seem so anxious, I don't see why not. Naruto said smirking. Summon me Naruto. Summon me and let me drag both of these fools into the deepest pits of despair. The dragon shouted as his eyes flared red and black as Naruto's eyes flared red and black as well. I rebuild the overlay network with Infinite Zero. Naruto shouted holding up his hands as his monster morphed into black and red energy, entering a purple vortex erupting powerful shockwave. Slash through everything with your cursed blade and cover the world with the darkness of death. Naruto chanted as a spectral energy scythe in his hands swiping the blade as his eyes glow while the energy surges around him taking on a form of its own. XYZ summon. Appear. Rank 4. Star Vader, Chaos Breaker Dragon. Naruto shouted as his aura surged around him while his and the beast's eyes flared up as the energy erupted around him, pushing both Sakura and Ino back. What is that thing? Ino cried out as the beast's eyes flashed red rearing back a massive scythe swiping it down upon the two girls. Ai. Sakura and Ino screamed loudly that startled a lot of birds nearby, causing them to fly away. Itsumi was running towards the park where she knew her friends were hoping that she wouldn't be too late. Huff, where are they? Mito puffed in and out. Mito. The middle Namika's Uzumaki child turned to see her older sister. Itsumi ni. Mito said surprised. What's going on? You left home, with panicked and scared expression. Natsumi asked her sister who fidgeted under her gaze, does this have anything to do with Naruto? Natsumi said with a glare. Mito flinching was all the confirmation she needed, what exactly has been going on and what did you do? She demanded as her sister stepped back in fear. Ai. Before they could proceed any further loud screaming followed by a large explosion happened behind them, shocking both girls who quickly rushed towards the site of the explosion. When they arrived, they found both Sakura and Ino laying on the ground, their discs destroyed and cards burnt. Sakura. Ino. Mito screamed rushing to her friends to check their conditions. Well. You both saved me the trouble of having to come and find you too. A voice gained their attention as they both turned to a dust cloud. Soon the dust cleared revealing Naruto standing across from them, his eyes burning bright red as a menacing black and red aura covering his body, a dark grin spreading over his face, the shadows of 4 dragons appearing behind him with red lighting flashing in the sky. Then Naruto the sisters uttered. It's finally time. Naruto uttered stepping forward. Natsumi, Mito duel me. He shouted holding up his activated duel disc towards his sisters. I will crush. Naruto shouted as his hair flared upwards before giving out a loud roar of power as a powerful wind howled behind him as the red lighting grew stronger, and believe me when I say this, your parents aren't here to save you from my wrath. Naruto said darkly as the four dragons behind him roared as dark thunder's cloud and massive bolts of lightning started causing both Mito and Natsumi to grow in fear. Brother. Natsumi thought to herself. What have I done? Mito thought to herself as well, dreading on what will happen next. Chapter 3 Siblings Clash. You did this, didn't you? Mito shouted. And what if I did? Your friends are nothing but scum, no lower than scum. Naruto said, looking down to their destroyed duel disc and their ruined cards. You're going to pay for this. Mito shouted, throwing a punch at her brother who caught it with no effort before pushing her back. You're never going to lay your fists in my again, I'm going to finally show you how pathetic you are. Naruto said, holding up his duel disc. Fine by me. Mito shouted. Hold on. The two siblings looked back to see Natsumi emerging from the forests with a serious expression on her face standing beside Mito. Natsumi, this isn't any of your business, so back off. Mito shouted. I can't do that. Natsumi said, looking over at Naruto. Naruto, I want an explanation to what's been happening to you. Now all of a sudden you care about me? Naruto chuckled softly, never thought I would see the day. I realize I haven't been as attentive as I should have been, and for that, I apologize. However, I can't simply ignore this dark change in you. Natsumi said. What happens to me is no business of yours or your parents. Naruto replied coldly. They are your parents as well. Natsumi replied. I haven't been a part of this family since I was 7 years old. Naruto said, harrowing his eyes. Natsumi nodded, I didn't think there was any other way of making you talk, brother. Natsumi replied as she got out her deck. Hold it. Mito shouted as Natsumi turned to her sister, he beat up my friends and put them in hospital. I want to duel him. Mito shouted as she pointed at Naruto. Natsumi narrowed her eyes, I challenged him first, sister. Natsumi replied. Mito looked like she was about to explode as she opened her mouth, I'll take you both on. Naruto shouted as the two sisters turned to Naruto, who had his duel disc out. I'll take both of you on. Naruto said as he activated his duel disc. Natsumi and Mito glanced to each other and nodded their heads as they took a few steps apart from each other. Both inserted their decks into their duel discs, which then shuffled their deck. Let's do this. Naruto shouted as a red and black aura surrounded. Duel. Naruto, Natsumi and Mito shouted as they each drew 5 cards. Naruto LP. 4000. Natsumi LP. 4000. Mito LP. 4000. I'll start. I draw. Natsumi shouted as she drew her first card, looked at it before she added it to her hand, then grabbed a new card, I summon Aqua Force, Rising Ripple, Pavrith. LVL4 at 1700 Def 1300, Natsumi shouted as a whirlpool shot up before a young man with orange hair leaped out of the whirlpool, who is wearing a white battle suit and a green sword. Since it's the first turn of a battle royal, no one can attack. So I end my turn here. Natsumi said as she ended her turn. Then it's my turn. Draw. Naruto drew his card, I summoned Star Vader Dust Tail Unicorn, LVL4 at 1000 Def 1800. Naruto summoned Dust Tail as it appeared with the same red and black aura. Mito and Natsumi can feel the sinister aura it's producing, as this was Kiba, Sakura, and Ino felt when they dueled against this deck. Mito thought to herself. Even though we saw Naruto using this deck at the academy, but facing it now feels so much different. Natsumi thought to herself as well. Dust Tail's effect, when it's summoned, I can add a level 4 or lower Star Vader for my deck while my hand. I add White Knight Fenrir, since I control a Star Vader monster I can special summon him, LVL4 at 1400 Def 800. Naruto said as Fenrir appeared. I used Dust Tail and Fenrir and overlay. Naruto shouted as the two flew into a black galaxy portal before it exploded, the dragon of the black and white link that can destroy an entire army. Appear. Rank 4. Star Vader Infinite Zero Dragon, RNK 4 2400 1600 Oru. 2. Naruto chanted before Infinite Zero appeared and roared. Natsumi and Mito tensed up as they felt an even more sinister aura coming from Infinite Zero, and it's worse since they are facing it. I set 2 cards face down and end my turn. Naruto placed 2 cards face down, ending his turn. Mito shook her head and glared at Naruto in determination, then it's my turn. Draw. Mito drew her card before looking and played it already, I summon Gold Paladin, Crimson Lion Cub, Kerf, LVL2 at 500 Def 600. A young man with thick purple hair appeared and wearing red and golden armor with the same color short sword appeared. When Kerf is summoned, I can add either Gold Paladin, Knight of Elegant Skills, Gareth, or Gold Paladin, Knight of Superior Skills, Bowmains. I add Gareth to my hand. Next, since I control Crimson Lion Cub, Kerf, I can special summon Gareth from my hand. LVL 4 at 1200 def 1600. Mito shouted as a young man, taller Kerf appeared. The young man has brown spiky hair, but at the bottom of his hair is tied and goes past his neck. He is wearing a black bodysuit with golden and red armor that covers his chest, hips, thighs, his lower arms, shoulders, upper arms, the middle of his lower arms and his hands. He is also wearing a golden and red helmet that only covers around his head with a green gem in the center and holding a. When Gareth is special summoned, I discard one card from my hand to the graveyard to add Knight of Superior Skills, Bowmains. Mito discarded her card before she grabbed Bowmains from her deck, next is Bowmains' ability. While I control both Kerf and Gareth, I can special Bowmains from my hand. Come forth, Bowmains. LVL 5 at 1400 def 1900. The young man has silver hair that only goes down to his neck, he is wearing red and gold armor, a golden lion's face is carved out on the chest with red gems for eyes, holding a red and golden sword in his right hand, the same color shield in his left, and a red cape that goes from the back of his shoulder blades to just barely not touching the ground. Now for Bowmain's other effect, when he's summoned by his own effect, I get to draw a card. Mito drew her card, looked at it, before adding it to her hand, next is Kerf's other effect. While Kerf, Gareth and Bowmains are all on the field at the same time, I choose one of them, and then they all become the same level as the one I chose. So Kerf and Gareth become the same level as Bowmains, which is level 5. Mito shouted as all three knights raised their swords in the air as they all became surrounded by a golden aura. 2 to 5, 4 to 5. Now I overlay Kerf, Gareth and Bowmains. Mito shouted as all three monsters became golden beams of energy that flew into a red portal above, warrior that is wrapped in scorching heat, may your heart that burns brightly with justice never extinguish. Bring order to this battlefield with your explosive flames and erase the darkness. XYZ summon. Gold Paladin, Incandescent Lion, Blonde Zexal. Mito chanted before she shouted as golden fire pillar shot out from the portal and landed in front of Mito. Soon the golden pillar was slashed, revealing a man in his late 20s with long and thick golden hair behind that is as wide as his shoulders and it touching the ground, but he also has silver hair at the front and the front sides of his face. The man is wearing a dark blue bodysuit that covers his arms and legs, but not his chest, which shows his 8-pack chest. He is also wearing very pale orange armor over around his exposed chest, his shoulder blade and legs, and the feet of the armor are lion feet. He is holding a massive sword in each hand, with the top of the handles having carved lion faces on them and 3 golden orbs circling around him. RNK5ATK1000 def 3000 Oru. 3. Blonde Zexal huh? You still using that deck huh? Naruto asked in an uninterested tone as Blonde raised his swords in front of him with a blue lining around him, indicating he's in defense mode. You bet I am and I'm gonna use it to pay you back for what you did to my friends. Blonde Zexal's effect. By detaching one overlay unit, I look at the top 4 cards of my deck and if there's a gold paladin among the cards, I can special summon it. Mito shouted as Zexal slashed one of the orbs with his right sword as Mito drew the top 4's cards, looked at them, before she grabbed one and showed it. Or 3-2. I summon Gold Paladin, Flame Wind Lion, Wonder Zexal. LVL 5 at 2100 def 1200. The young man shorter than Zexal with silver hair that goes down to past his knees and holding a massive aqua and golden sword. Blonde Zexal gains the attack of the monster summoned by his effect. RNK5ATK1000 to 3100 def 3000. Now for Wonder Zexal's effect. When this card is special summoned while I control an Zexal XYZ monster on my field, I can special summon a gold paladin from my deck that has Zexal in its name or its text. So, I summon Gold Paladin, Crimson Lion Beast, Howl. LVL 4 at 1700 def 1400. The young man with brown short hair and the same height as Wonder Zexal appeared, he is wearing golden armor that covers his whole body, on his chest is a red section, blue orbs on each side of his shoulders, knees, one in the center of his chest, and one above his hips. A golden helmet that exposes his face, with a long purple mane coming from the back of the helmet and he has arm gauntlets with 2 massive spikes on each gauntlets. You always summon more monsters than needed Mito. Natsumi told her sister as the latter turned to the former. Well, you saw how powerful Naruto's new deck is and you saw what he did to Kiba, he didn't summon enough monsters and it cost him the duel since he can bypass locked monsters and attack directly. So, I'm trying to make sure I have plenty of monsters on my field. Mito shouted as Natsumi couldn't fault her logic, but it just didn't feel right with Natsumi since they don't know what Naruto's new deck is truly capable of. I said one card face down and end my turn. Mito shouted as she ended her turn with a face down. RNK5ATK. 3100 to 1000 def 3000. Naruto, cards in hand. 3. Mito, cards in hand. 5. Natsumi, cards in hand. 5. Now it's my turn again. I draw. Natsumi drew her card, looked at it, before playing it, I activate the field spell, Lost Citadel of the Aqua Force. Natsumi shouted as water rose up from the ground as it went up to their knees, and a giant abandoned and ruined citadel appeared behind Natsumi. While this card is on the field, all Aqua Force monsters gain 300 attack and defense point. Natsumi shouted as Pavrith became surrounded by a blue aura. At 1700 to 2000 def 1300 to 1600. Next, I activate the effect of Aqua Force, Marine General, Michael. I can send one Aqua Force monster on my field to the graveyard to summon this monster from my hand. So, I send Pavrith to the graveyard to summon Michael. LVL 7 at 2500 to 2800 def 1700 to 2000. Next I activate the effect of Aqua Force, Officer Cadet Eric, by sending this monster to the graveyard, I excavate the top 5 cards from my deck and add one Aqua Force monster to my hand. Natsumi said as she grabbed the top 5 cards from her hand, looked at them, before grabbed one card. I add Aqua Force, Marine General of the Furious Tides, Murtis. Then I shuffle the rest back into my deck. Natsumi placed the other 4's cards back into her deck as it shuffled them. Now for Pavrith's effect, since discarded an Aqua Force monster, I can summon him from my graveyard. Pavrith reappeared next to Michael, at 1700 to 2000 def 1300 to 1600. Now since I control 2 or more Aqua Force monsters I can special summon Murtis. LVL 7 at 2300 to 2600 def. 2200 to 2500. Next I activate a Quad Raw. Natsumi shouted as the card showed Pavrith and Blue Storm Dragon, Maelstrom side by side with a card floating above their right hands that is glowing gold. For each Aqua Force monster I control with a different name, I can draw that many cards. Since I control 3 different Aqua Force monsters, I can draw 3 cards. Natsumi drew her 3 cards, looked at them, before added all 3 of them to her hand. Next I overlay Murtis and Michael. Michael and Murtis became blue rays of energy that flew into a red-blue galaxy portal before it exploded, wash away all vice in the flow of the furious flood. And may the storm you create wash away the corruption on the land. XYZ summon. Appear. Rank 7, Aqua Force, Blue Storm Dragon, Maelstrom. Blue Storm Dragon appeared and roared loudly with 2 blue orbs circling around it. RNK7, or 2 at 2800 to 3100 def. 1900 to 2200. Blue Storm Dragon huh? You still using the card your Ka-san gave you? Naruto said as he started the dragon. She's your Ka-chan as well. Mito shouted. Naruto glanced towards Mito, I wasn't talking to you, was I? Naruto asked as Mito growled that her brother isn't even concerned about her. Yes, I am, and I'm going to use it to stop you, before you hurt others or yourself. Natsumi answered as Naruto glanced back to her, well Blue Storm Maelstrom is Fasup, all other Aqua Force monsters gain 300 attack points. Next, I play the spell, Aqua Force, Rush Wave. The spell showed Blue Storm Dragon and a bunch of other Aqua Force monsters riding on top of a tidal wave that is heading towards a beach. At 2000 to 2300 def 1300 to 1600. With this, all Aqua Force monsters cannot be destroyed by battle this turn and they all get an additional attack each. Natsumi shouted as both of her Aqua Force monsters became surrounded by a water shield, battle. Pavrith attack Infinite Zero. Pavrith leaped towards Infinite Zero with his swords raised. When an Aqua Force monster declares an attack, my citadel gains 1 wave counter. The abandoned citadel behind Natsumi glowed. Wave counter. 0 to 1. When Pavrith was about to strike Infinite Zero, the white cybernetic dragon swatted him away with his right hand, sending him flying back towards Natsumi as a red aura surrounded Natsumi, making her grunt in pain. Natsumi 3900. Pavrith attack again. Pavrith got back up and leaped towards Infinite Zero, and my citadel gains another counter. Wave counter. 1 to 2, this time for Infinite Zero, fired a red and black beam at Pavrith, making him shout in pain as the beam scratched, Natsumi shouted, making her flinch by that. Natsumi. 3900 to 3800. Blue Storm Dragon, Maelstrom attack Infinite Zero. Natsumi shouted as Blue Storm roared as an orb of water appeared in front of his mouth. Wave counter. 2 to 3. Blue Storm fired a pillar of water towards Infinite Zero, I activate the continuous trap, Star Barrier Void. Which can negate my opponent's attack against my Star Vader monsters once per turn. The pillar of water slammed into a shield that suddenly appeared around Infinite Zero, and after the attack was negated, I get a void counter. Void counter. 0 to 1. Doesn't matter, Blue Storm Dragon can attack again, so go to it. Blue Storm Dragon roared as another sphere of water appeared in front of its mouth before it fired another pillar of water at Infinite Zero. Wave counter. 3 to 4. In that case, I play my other trap, Star Meteor Fall. The card showed Nebula Lord Dragon in the background, with its right hand upwards and a meteor, surrounded by a red and black aura above him, with a bunch of small monsters running away in fear in the foreground. But this not only are Star Vader monsters cannot be destroyed by battle and card effects this turn, then I choose one monster on my opponent's field, destroy it, and then they take damage equal to half their original attack point. The pillar of water slammed into infinite zero, making it roared in pain as Naruto raised his arms to shield himself from the water that is slamming into his arms. Naruto. 4300. He had that trap just in case. I was able to make 2 attacks that are stronger against his infinite zero. That's good to get it out of the way now, since they trap would have ended us if he used it later. Natsumi thought to herself since there was a good chance that she and Mito would have lost to that trap if he used it later on. Once the attack was over, Naruto lowered his arms, now I get to pick on monster on both of your fields and destroy both of them. Naruto said as both sisters tensed up knowing that they'll lose their ace monsters. I destroy Flame Wind Lion, Wonder Ezel and Rising Ripple, Pavrith. Naruto shouted. Huh. Natsumi and Mito shouted in shock and surprise as 2 meteors surrounded by red and black aura appeared above Wonder Ezel Pavrith, making the mentioned monsters look up before the meteors crushed them as they vanished in yellow particulars. Natsumi and Mito grunted in pain and gritted their teeth as well. Mito. 4029.50, Natsumi. 3800 to 2950. Once that was over, why didn't he destroy Blue Storm Blonde Ezel? Natsumi and Mito thought together at once, wondering why Naruto didn't destroy their ace monsters. Are you done yet, Natsumi? Naruto asked, snapping Natsumi out of her thoughts. Whatever the reason, I can't let that distract me. Natsumi thought to herself again, no I'm not, cause Maelstrom's ability activates. After the battle, if it was the 4th or more attack, Maelstrom can destroy 1 card on your field and I draw a card. I destroy Star Barrier Void. Maelstrom fired blue beams of energy from its guns at the trap. By removing 1 void counter, Star Barrier Void's destruction can be negated. Naruto as a barrier appeared around the trap as the red and black ring around the trap vanished as well. Void counter. 1-0. I set 2 cards face down and end my turn. Natsumi said as 2 cards appeared face down ending her turn. Naruto, can I ask you something? Natsumi asked. Naruto raised an eyebrow. What? Naruto asked back. What happened to you and for that matter, what happened to your Royal Paladin deck? When you used that deck you would always have fun. And I enjoyed going up against it, you always gave me a hard time dueling against that deck, whenever you would win, it pushed me to get better so I could beat it and your ace monster, Blaster Blade. So, I don't understand why you would get rid of it, what happened to your Royal Paladin deck and what happened to you? Natsumi asked. Why don't you ask her? Naruto said as she turned and pointed at Mito who flinched as Natsumi turned to Mito and saw her expression. Mito. Natsumi said in a cold tone as she slowly turned to her older sister, what did you do? Natsumi asked. Mito didn't answer as she looked at the ground. Naruto chuckled as both sisters turned to their brother, why don't I explain what happened and why I destroyed her friend's duel disc and cards? Naruto said as Natsumi gave him her full attention as Mito eyes widen in realization. That day when I came back, well it was raining, Mito and her friends took my cards from me. Naruto started as Natsumi turned and glared at Mito who shrunk under her gaze. But wasn't all that she did. Naruto gained their attention again, well Kiba held me back, that bitch over there that is called my so-called sister, ripped every single card in my deck to pieces including my avatar. Naruto shouted as Natsumi's eyes widened in shock as she turned to Mito who turned away. Mito, how could you? Natsumi asked. Mito looked away gritting her teeth. Enough. Naruto stated silencing his sisters. You two can continue with your worthless discussion when the duel is over. Naruto wait, Natsumi said. I'm done waiting to be acknowledged as part of this family, waiting for people to stop abusing me, talking about me behind my back, treating me like I'm the plague. I've had enough of it all. Naruto shouted as his aura exploded around him pushing back his sisters. Namikaze Uzumaki Estate. The sounds of glass cracking echoed as Kushina turned her head back to see a photograph laying on the floor. Kushina picked it up to show their family picture the day the children were born. She saw a jagged crack now formed over Naruto's picture. What is this feeling? Kushina thought over the last few days she'd noticed how distant Sun seemed to be. Her hand moved to her stomach rubbing it softly. I'm sure once everyone hears about the baby, things will brighten up. Naru-chan will be happy to not to be the baby in the family anymore. Kushina smiled. Back with the Namikaze Uzumaki siblings. Natsumi and Mito have their arms raised to shield themselves from the red and black aura that is washing over them, this aura it's so cold and dark. Natsumi thought to herself in fear as the aura that is coming from her brother. So don't expect us to be family ever again, you are all years late if you think we leave be family again. Naruto shouted. But Naruto. Natsumi shouted trying to reason. But nothing. I don't want to hear it. It's my turn draw. Naruto roared as he drew his card, Infinite Zero's ability. I use him to summon a Star Vader XYZ from my extra deck. Infinite Zero roared as it flew into a portal before it exploded. A beast arriving from another world, descend onto the battlefield and show your enemies true terror. XYZ summon. Rank 4. Star Vader, Infinite Zero Dragon. Naruto chanted before shouting as another Infinite Zero appeared and roared loudly, with 3 purple robs circling around at this time. RNK4 2400 1600 Oru. 3. But the first Infinite Zero's ability, the new one gains 600 attack points. AC. 2400 to 3000 def 1600. And then I choose 2 cards on my opponent's field and lock them. Naruto shouted. I play the trap Golden Lion's Shield. Mito shouted as the trap showed Blonde Zexal holding a shield that is carved to be a lion's face and is pure gold. He is blocking the attack from a dark magician. With this I can equip this to Blonde Zexal, and while he's equipped with this card, he cannot be targeted or destroyed by my opponent's card effects. Mito shouted as the sword in Blonde Zexal's left hand morphed into the same shield from the card. And I activate the trap Maelstrom Cyclone. Natsumi shouted as the trap showed Blue Storm Dragon is surrounded a water cyclone-like armor with its eyes glowing and lasers are bouncing off the cyclone. With this I equipped a Blue Storm and like Mito's trap, Blue Storm cannot be targeted or destroyed by your card effects. Natsumi shouted as Maelstrom is now surrounded by a water cyclone armor. How's that, now your lock won't work on us, loser. Mito shouted in arrogance. Mito. Natsumi shouted making Mito flinch as she turned to her sister and saw an ice-cold glare. After this duel, you are going to pay for what you did to Naruto. We are family and we never rip each other decks apart. And you are going to tell our parents about what you did. Do you understand me? Natsumi shouted as she is surrounded by a blue aura. Mito nodded fearfully, I understand. Mito whispered softly, but Natsumi heard it. Excuse me. Naruto shouted as they both turned back to him, I said you can continue this pointless talk after the duel. Now as for your traps, it would have worked if I was actually going after your ace monsters. Naruto replied shocking and confusing the sisters. I locked Natsumi's field spell and her other face down. Naruto shouted as Natsumi's field spell and her other face down became locked and the citadel behind Natsumi, the water and the blue aura around Blue Storm vanished. Blue Storm Dragon, Maelstrom AC. 3100 to 2800 def. 2200 to 1900. Next I activate the spell, Lock Draw. The spell card showed 2 red beams from 2 locked cards hitting Infinite Zero, who is surrounded by a red aura. With this, while I control a Star Vader monster I can draw cards equal to the number of locked cards on the field. I draw 2 more cards. Naruto drew his 2 cards. Next I play the spell card, Star Invasion, which allows me to summon 2 Star Vader monsters from my hand in defense mode. I summoned Star Vader, Furious Claws, Niobium, 6 2900, and Reversal Star Vader, Nibelium. 6 2500. Naruto shouted as 2 more Star Vader monsters appeared kneeling on one knee with their arms crossed. Battle. Infinite Zero attack Howl. Infinite Zero roared before it fired red and black beam that slammed into Howl making him scream in pain before he exploded as Mito screamed in pain as she was sent flying. Mito. 2950 to 1650. Mito. Natsumi shouted in concern as she watched her sister crash into the ground while grunting in pain. I sent 1 card face down and end my turn. Naruto ended his turn with 1 face down as Natsumi turned to her brother. Naruto, you have to stop this. Natsumi shouted. I think you and your family are some of the last people to demand anything from me and besides, Mito must pay for what she did. Naruto replied. Yes, I do agree that what Mito did was disgraceful, yes. But this isn't the way to go about it. Natsumi responded as Naruto merely shrugged his shoulders. And who are you to determine what's the correct way to go about it? Naruto asked as Natsumi's eyes widened slightly before she narrowed them again. It's my job as the eldest sister to protect her younger siblings. Natsumi shouted back. Naruto narrowed his eyes, then where were you when I needed you? Naruto asked as Natsumi flinched at that, looked down, and she couldn't find any words. Don't bother sister. Mito's voice called out as both turned to her and saw she is slowly getting up, I don't think you can change his mind right now, no matter what you say. Mito told her sister as the latter narrowed her eyes slightly at her younger sister. I know I shouldn't have done what I did, but I was jealous. Jealous that he would always beat me in duels no matter what cards I got from our parents, it was unfair. Mito shouted as tears came out of her eyes as Blonde Zexal looked at Mito with a pity look on his face. Naruto had a look of rage on his face, while Natsumi had a disappointed look on hers, and now, he's like this, because of me. So it's my job to change him back and I promise, I'll get him back his whole deck, even if it takes years, I'll do it. Mito shouted with a determined look on her face. Itsumi smiled softly, but Naruto's expression didn't change. My turn, draw. Mito shouted as she drew her card, Blonde Ezel's effect. By detaching one overlay unit, I look at the top 4 cards and special summon a gold paladin monster among them. Blonde Ezel slashed another golden orb as Mito drew 4 cards from the top of her deck. Oru. 2-2. Mito looked at her cards, then grabbed one of them. Before putting the rest back into her deck, I summoned Gold Paladin, Stronghold of the Black Chains, Hole. LVL4 at 1500 def 1200. And Blonde Ezel gains Hole's attack points. Mito shouted as Blonde Ezel became surrounded by a golden aura, RNK5ATK. 1000 to 2500 def 3000, and I'll switch him to attack mode. Ezel stood up and pointed his sword forward. While Blonde Ezel is in attack mode, he gains 100 attack points for each gold paladin monster I control, including himself. Mito shouted as Blonde Ezel and Hole became surrounded by a golden aura. RNK5ATK. 2500 to 2700 def 3000. Next, I activate the continuous spell, United Golden Forces. The card showed Blonde Ezel at the front with his right sword raised in the air with a bunch of gold paladins behind him. With this, by discarding one card from my hand to the graveyard, I can special summon a gold paladin from my deck and I can keep using this effect so long as I can discard cards, but I can no longer summon monsters from my extra deck for the rest of the turn. So, I discard 3 cards from my hand to the graveyard. Mito shouted as she sent 3 cards from her hand to the graveyard as 3 pillars of golden light shone out of her duel disc. I summon Gold Paladin, Advance of the Black Chains, Kahedin, LVL6 at 2300 def 1600, Gold Paladin, Player of the Holy Bow, Vivian, LVL5 at 2100 def 1900, and Gold Paladin, Evil Slaying Swordsman, Hagen. LVL4 at 1800 def 100. Kahedin appeared with his arms crossed with a determined smile, Vivian appeared with a smile with an arrow on her bow, and Hagen appeared with battle-ready expression and his sword in front of him. Furthermore, monsters summoned by this effect have their attack points halved until the end of the turn. Mito shouted as Kahedin, Vivian and Hagen grunted slightly. LVL6 at 2300 to 1150 def 1600, LVL5 at 2100 to 1050 def 1900, LVL4 at 1800 900 def 100. And don't forget Blonde Ezel gains 100 for each gold paladin. RNK5ATK. 2700 to 3000 def 3000. In addition to that, Hole's effect now activates. Normally when a gold paladin is special summoned, Hole gives the summoned monster 500 attack points. But while Kahedin is fast soup on the field, the power boost is 1000 instead. So Kahedin will only gain 500, but Vivian and Hagen will gain 1000. LVL6 AC, 1150 to 1650 def 1600, LVL5 AC, 1050 to 2050 def 1900, LVL4 AC, 900 1900 def 100. Now for Kahedin's effect, while him and Hole are both fast soup and in attack position, Kahedin's attack points are increased by Hole's attack points. Kahedin and Hole looked at each other, then both nodded their heads before they both became surrounded by a brown aura as Hole's aura flew into Kahedin, LVL6 AC. 1650 to 3150 def 1600. Let's go. Hagen attack Niobium and Hagen inflicts piercing damage. Hagen slashed Niobium making her scream in pain before she exploded as Naruto's hair and clothes were blown back. Naruto. 3300 to 2300. Kahedin attack Infinite Zero. Mito shouted as Kahedin shouted as he pointed at Infinite Zero as 4 small portals appeared, 2 on each side as 4 blue chains with spearheads at the front flew towards Infinite Zero. Star Barrier Void's effect. Kahedin's attack is negated. Naruto shouted as a barrier appeared in front of Infinite Zero. The chains bounced off the barrier before they vanished as Kahedin gritted his teeth against each other and I get a void counter. Void counter. 0 to 1. But now that your trap's effect is used up, you can't stop my attack. Mito shouted as she looked at Naruto's face down. Let's hope that his face down stays face down. Mito thought to herself. Blonde Ezel attack Infinite Zero. Blonde Ezel leaped towards Infinite Zero with his right sword drawn back as he thrusted it forward. Suddenly Nibelium leaped in front of Blonde Ezel as a shield appeared in front of her. Blonde Ezel thrusted his sword into the barrier, but he was sent back and landed in front of a shocked Mito. What happened? Mito shouted. Whenever a Star Vader monster is under attack, Nibelium redirects the attack to herself. Naruto explained. But why wasn't Nibelium destroyed? Natsumi asked. Nibelium cannot be destroyed by battle once a turn. Naruto said, shocking both sisters. Now unless I'm mistaken, you have no other monsters that can attack because you have their attack points and Hole isn't strong enough in the first place. Naruto said as Mito looked at her hand but she couldn't do anything else. I end my turn. And during the end phase the monsters that had their attacks points halved return to normal and Hole's effect ends as well. LVL 6 AC. 3150 to 3800 def 1600, LVL 5 AC. 2050 to 2100 def 1900, LVL 4 AC. 1900 to 1800 def 100. And the continuous spell, Untied Golden Forces is destroyed at the end of the turn. Mito's spell vanished, and finally Blonde Ezel will lose attack from its effect. Mito whispered with her head lowered, as Blonde Ezel also lost his power boost. RNK 5 ATK. 3000 1500 def 3000. I'm sorry Natsumi, I couldn't end it. Mito said with her gaze at the ground. Don't worry Mito, you've shown me what I have to do, I'll end this. Natsumi said before she looked at her field and saw the 2 locked cards, if only Naruto hadn't locked my field spell. Link Joker is truly a terrifying deck. And I'm amazed that he mastered it so quickly. Natsumi thought to herself as she looked at Infinite Zero who is glaring down at Natsumi who shivered slightly but quickly shook it off. Naruto, cards in hand. 1. Mito, cards in hand. 2. Natsumi, cards in hand. 3. My turn. Draw. Natsumi drew her card, looked at it, before turning back to Infinite Zero, then glanced at Nibelium. Naruto said that Nibelium can redirect any attack on a Star Vader monster to her, and she can't be destroyed by battle once, but he never said that the redirect attack isn't once a turn. So that means I need 3 attacks with over 2500 attack points, and then I can get rid of Infinite Zero and stop Naruto before he hurts more than he already has. Natsumi thought to herself. I activate the effect of Aqua Force, Tier Knight, Lazarus, I can send one Aqua Force monster from my hand to the graveyard to summon this monster. Natsumi discarded her card as Lazarus appeared with his sword on top of his shoulder. LVL 5 at 2100 to 2400 def 500. Now for the effects of Pavrath and Aqua Force, try Hall Drakakid. When an Aqua Force is discarded while Pavrath is in my graveyard he's get summoned, and Try Hall has the same effect. Natsumi shouted as Pavrath and Try Hall appeared. LVL 4 at 1700 to 2000 def 1300, LVL 2 at 500 to 800 def 400. That is what she discarded from Lazarus. Naruto thought to himself. I used Try Hall Drakakid to tune Lazarus. Try Hall swung its trident as it became 2 green rings as Lazarus flew through the rings as it vanished, and 5 green stars appeared. General of the raging ocean currents. Lead the Aqua Force to land and drown your enemies in an endless storm that thunders across the land. Synchro Summon. Appear. Level 7. Aqua Force, Thundering Ripple, Genovius. Natsumi shouted as a water cyclone appeared next to Blue Storm, soon it shattered showing Thundering Ripple, Genovius. LVL 7 at 2500 to 2800 def 2000. You still using your synchro summons? Naruto said. Yes, and he'll help me to win this. I activate his effect, when he is successfully synchro summoned, I can add 1 Aqua Force monster for every other Aqua Force monsters I control. Since I control 2 others, I can add Lazarus and Try Hall. Next, I activate the effect of Blue Storm. By detaching 1 overlay unit, Genovius can make 2 attacks this turn. Blue Storm ate one of its blue orbs as blue sparkles rained down on Genovius, making him smirk. Battle. Pavrath attacked Nibelium. Natsumi pointed at Nibelium, leaped towards her, with his sword pulled back, when he swung them forward, Nibelium raised her hands, as a green barrier appeared blocking the attack, and Natsumi was surrounded by a red aura. Natsumi. 2950 to 2450. Now Blue Storm Dragon, Maelstrom attack Infinite Zero. Blue Storm roared as it fired a pillar of water towards Infinite Zero. Star Barrier's void effect activates. You attack is negated. A barrier appeared in front of Infinite Zero as the water bounced off, and I get another counter. Void counter. 1 to 2. That's fine. Genovius attack Infinite Zero. Genovius bent down before leaping towards Infinite Zero, and now for Genovius's effect when he attacks an opponent's monster, I can send 2 Aqua Force cards from my hand, and all other Aqua Force monsters that attack this turn, can attack again. Genovius spun around towards Natsumi, pointed his giant spear forward as 2 blue beams of light shot from the tip, hit both of her monsters as they glowed and straightened up. Genovius spun back around towards Infinite Zero as thrusted his spear forwards. The effect of Nibelium activates. Your attack is diverted to her and she won't be destroyed by this battle. Nibelium appeared in front of Genovius as a green barrier appeared as Genovius's spear slammed into the barrier before sending him away. Don't forget Genovius can attack twice this turn. Genovius attack Infinite Zero. Genovius landed but leaped right back towards Infinite Zero. Nibelium, redirecting attack effect isn't a once a turn. Naruto shouted as Nibelium crossed her arms. But her non-destruction is only once a turn. Natsumi shouted as Genovius thrusted his spear into Nibelium, making her screech and pie before she vanished in yellow particulars. Now there's nothing stopping me from destroying Infinite Zero. Blue Storm Maelstrom attack Infinite Zero. Maelstrom roared as it fired a pillar of water at Infinite Zero that roared in pain before an explosion happened as Naruto shielded himself with his arms as white smoke engulfed his field. Naruto. 2300 to 1900. Yes. He only has 1900 life points left and Pavrith has 2000 attack points. Natsumi end this. Mito shouted as Natsumi turned to her and nodded. Pavrith atha. Natsumi shouted before stopping as she saw glowing red eyes from the cloud of white smoke. Soon the smoke cleared, revealing Infinite Zero still on the field. Natsumi and Mito were shocked by this. How? Natsumi asked in shock. Soon the smoke cleared off of Naruto as he dusted his left shoulder with his eyes closed before he opened them and faced his sisters. Reversal Star Vader. Nibelium had another effect, the turn she's destroyed by battle or by my opponent's card effect. All Star Vader cannot be destroyed this turn. Naruto revealed, shocking both sister who are surprised and stunned by this. He had protection this time. Mito and Natsumi thought to themselves in shock. You got anything else? Naruto asked as Natsumi looked at her last card but it wouldn't help her at all. And I can't use Blue Storm's effect to destroy Infinite Zero since it's protected. Natsumi thought to herself as she looked at Naruto's face down, but what I can do is Natsumi thought to herself again. I use Blue Storm's ability. After Blue Storm's attack, if that attack was the fourth or more attack this turn, I can destroy one card on your field and I draw a card. I destroy your face down. Maelstrom fired blue beams of energy from its guns at Naruto's face down before it was destroyed and Natsumi drew her card, looked at it, but it was another Lazarus. I can't do anything with this. Natsumi thought to herself, I end my. Not so fast. Naruto shouted, interrupting Natsumi as she and Mito now have surprised expressions. I activate the trap, star strength input. Naruto shouted as a trap card appeared on his face. The artwork showed Nebula Lord on its hands and knees and on the ground, with Chaos Breaker absorbing Nebula Lord's energy. Well, this card is in my graveyard. By banishing one Star Vader monster, I can reset it, but I can't activate the turn I reset it and it gets banished when it leaves the field. I banish Nibelium to reset it. Nibelium was banished as the trap was reset to Naruto's field. Natsumi gritted her teeth, I end my turn. Natsumi shouted as she closed her eyes and looked down as her field spell and her face down became unlocked. RNK7, or 1 at 2800 to 3100 def. 1900 to 2200, LVL7 AC. 2800 to 3100 def. 2000 to 2300, AC. 2000 to 2300 def. 1300 to 1600. I'll admit Naruto gained the attention of his sisters. You two certainly are good duelist, and Natsumi, to be honest, I always enjoyed when we dueled as well. Naruto admitted, surprising Mito and Natsumi, but those days are long gone since I no longer have my royal paladin deck and we are no longer family. Naruto shouted as a red and black aura surrounded him and Infinite Zero. Natsumi, Mito and their monsters are nervous. Final turn. Naruto shouted, shocking the sisters, I draw. Infinite Zero's effect. Infinite Zero roared as it flew into a black galaxy portal before it exploded. Give mercy to those who end up in despair and spread the dark power you wield across the galaxy. XYZ summon. Appear. Rank 4. Star Vader Nebula Lord Dragon. RNK 4 at 2600 def. 2000 or 4. Infinite Zero's effect. And I'll chain that effect with Star Strength input. Naruto shouted as the trap lifted up. By banishing a Star Vader monster, all Star Vader XYZ monsters that are on the field and any Star Vader monsters that I summon this turn will gain additional effects of the banished monster. So I banish Furious Claw, Star Vader, Niobium. A spirit form of Niobium appeared as Nebula Lord's body is now surrounded by a red and black aura. What effects does Niobium have? Natsumi and Mito thought to themselves. Infinite Zero's effect. Nebula Lord gains 600 attack points. Nebula Lord roared as the aura around him grew. RNK 4 at 3200 def. 2000 or 4 and then I lock two cards. I lock Kahiden and Citadel. Naruto pointed straight as the two mentioned cards are locked with Kahiden shouting in pain. Mito's monsters stared at Kahiden's locked state in shock. Since Citadel isn't up face, Iroquois forces lose attack points. RNK 7 or 1 at 3100 to 2800 def. 2200 to 1900, LVL 7 AC. 3100 to 2800 def. 2300 to 2000, AC. 2300 to 2000 def. 1600 to 1300. And now for the effect of Nebula Lord that was given to by Niobium. Each time a card gets locked, Nebula Lord gains 300 attack and defense points. Naruto shouted. What? Natsumi and Mito shouted in shock and fear. Since two cards were locked, Nebula Lord gained 600. Nebula Lord powered up again. RNK 4 at 3200 to 3800 def. 2000 to 2600 or 4. Now I activate the effect of Nebula Lord. By detaching 2 overlay units I lock 1 monster on your field. I lock Genovius. Naruto shouted as 2 orbs flew into Nebula Lord before he aimed his palm at Genovius as 2 red and black rings flew towards Genovius as he became locked. RNK4 AC. 3800 to 4100 def 2600 to 2900 or 42. Next, I play the spell, Starvate XYZ. Naruto played a new spell card that showed Dust Tail and Fenrir with black auras surrounding them and flying into a black galaxy portal. I select 2 Star Vader monsters in my graveyard and use them to XYZ. I used Dust Tail and Fenrir. A black portal appeared on the ground in front of Naruto as 2 purple rays of energy flew into black galaxy portal. Join me for the 3rd time. The dragon that is the link between black and white. Star Vader Infinite Zero Dragon. Infinite Zero has its arms crossed before it swung them outwards and roared. A 3rd one. Mito said in fear as she took a step back. Yes, and Lock Draw's other effect now activates. When I XYZ summon a Star Vader monster, well there's a lock card on your field, I can add Lock Draw from my graveyard to my hand, but it's banished next time I use it. Naruto added the spell he used earlier. Now I activate it. And I draw 3 cards. Naruto drew 3 cards, next I play Star Time Travel. I target 1 Star Vader XYZ monster and use that monster to summon a new Star Vader XYZ with a rank. Naruto shouted, shocking the sisters. The spell has the same effect as Infinite Zero. Mito shouted in shock. Yes, it does. I use Infinite Zero to rebuild the overlay network. Infinite Zero roared as it flew into a black galaxy portal before it exploded and a red and black beam erupted from the ground, slash through everything with your cursed blade and cover the world with the darkness of death. XYZ summon. Appear rank 4. Star Vader Chaos Breaker Dragon. Naruto chanted. The beam vanished as Chaos Breaker has its scythe drawn back as it slowed raised it in the air before holding it in both claws. RNK. 4 ATK 2900 def 2200 Oru. 3. Mito and Natsumi stared at Chaos Breaker in shock and fear as they both took a few steps back as Mito's gold paladins looked up at the 2 dragons with shocked expressions. Infinite Zero's effect. Naruto shouted as Chaos Breaker became surrounded by a red and black aura. Infinite Zero is not a once-a-turn effect. Natsumi shocked. I never said it was, I can only control 1 Infinite Zero at a time though. But moving on from that, Chaos Breaker gains 600 attack points and I lock Vivian and her face down Natsumi. Naruto shouted as Vivian and Natsumi's face down became locked. RNK. 4 ATK 2900 to 3500 def 2200 Oru. 3. And don't forget Nebula Lord gains 600 more attack points and since I summoned Chaos Breaker also gains Niobium's effect. So, it gains 600 attack points as well. Nebula Lord and Chaos Breaker's aura around them grew even bigger. RNK4 AC. 4100 to 4700 def. 2900 to 3400 Oru 2. RNK. 4 ATK. 3500 to 4100 def 2200 to 2800 Oru. 3. Nebula Lord's lock effect isn't a once a turn. So, I detached 2 to lock Hole. Oru 2-0. Hole shouted in pain before he became locked. RNK4 AC. 4700 to 5000 def. 3400 to 3700 Oru 0. RNK. 4 ATK. 4100 to 4400 def 2800 to 3100 Oru. 3. Now I activate the spell, Overlay Lock. While I control a Star Vader XYZ with overlay units, I can detach as many as I want to lock the same amount. I detached 2 from Chaos Breaker to lock Pavrath and Hagen. 2 of Chaos Breaker's overlay units flew from it as they circled Pavrath and Hagen before they became locked cards. RNK4 AC. 5000 to 5600 def. 3700 to 4300 Oru 0. RNK. 4 ATK. 4400 to 5000 def 3100 to 3700 Oru. 3-1. Mito is staring at her field in shock as 4 of her monsters are locked while Blonde Ezel is at the center all along and looking at the locked cards worried about their safety. RNK 5 ATK. 1500 to 1100 def 3000. Itsumi is the same, staring at her locked cards with only Blue Storm Maelstrom unlocked. Battle. Naruto gained their attention as they sisters turned to him. Nebula Lord's final effect is during the battle phase, all Star Vader monsters gain 300 attack for every locked card in the field. Naruto said. Itsumi and Mito's eyes widen in shock as the aura around Nebula and Chaos Breaker grew even more. Since there are 8 locked cards, Nebula and Chaos Breaker gain 2400 attack points. Naruto shouted as Nebula Lord screeched and Chaos Breaker roared. RNK4 AC. 5600 800 def. 4300 Oru 0. RNK. 4 ATK. 5000 to 7400 def 3700 or 1. Mito and Natsumi both took steps away in fear, you see this? Naruto shouted as they turned to him with fearful expression, which only grew when they saw the same red and black aura around him. This is my power and I will never let you or that family of yours take it away from. Not now, not ever. Naruto roared. Nebula Lord attacked Blonde Ezel. Void lightning. Nebula Lord screeched as it raised a right hand at Blonde Ezel as it fired black lightning. Ai. Blonde Ezel shouted before he was desynchronated as a massive explosion happened. Ai. Mito screamed in pain as she was sent flying off her feet. Miidu. Natsumi screamed in fear as Mito crashed into the ground with burn marks on her body. Mito. 1650 to 0000. Chaos Breaker attacked Blue Strom, Maelstrom. Naruto roared as Natsumi turned around to face him as Chaos Breaker flew towards Maelstrom with his scythe drawn back. Once Chaos Breaker was in front of Maelstrom, he swung his scythe, slashing Maelstrom's left shoulder, going downwards diagonally, then swung it again, this time slashing his right shoulder going downwards diagonally, both times making him roar in pain. Finally, Chaos Breaker raised its scythe above his head, then swung it downwards, slashing Blue Storm from its head going downwards, cutting it in half before it exploded. Natsumi stared at the explosion heading towards her before she slammed her eyes shut. Ai. Natsumi screamed as she was sent flying off her feet. We never stood a chance against him, didn't we? Natsumi thought to herself in shock before she slammed into the ground, slid across the ground before stopping as her whole world became black. Natsumi. 2450 to 0000. Winner. Naruto. All cards vanished as Naruto walked towards his downed sisters. The blonde boy gave off a soft chuckle before he exploded into full-out laughter, tears running down his eyes. Naruto's laughter soon ended and a dark smirk spread over his face as he looked down at his deck. It's finally done, now I can finally move on. Naruto said as he held out his hand. A swirling red and black portal opened before him. Naruto gave his sister's former sisters one final glance before stepping through the portal, vanishing from Konoha and leaving his old life behind. Chapter 4. New Home and New Friends. Across the sea from the 5 great nations is a futuristic city called Heartland City, where technology have evolved beyond what the ninja land couldn't have imagined. There were robots picking up the trash that is on the roads and walk paths, and there were some hover cars and normal that are driving above the road and on the road, and the buildings are very tall that are either apartments or office spaces. There aren't that many people since it's nighttime, but the whole city is lit up very bright by all the lights, making the place feel magical. At the center of the city that is a massive tower that stands above the rest with a giant heart around the top of the building. Then in a back alleyway a red and black portal opened as Naruto walked out of it, where he'll build his new life and holding 2 Ziz cards that are surrounded by a red and black aura. He looked at them as they Void Lion, Platinum Ezel Everse and Blue Storm Karma Dragon, Maelstrom Everse before he pocketed both and walked away as his mind thought to the last thing he did before he left. Flashback. Naruto was about to leave through the portal, but he turned back to his downed and unconscious former sisters. Then he held out his hand as one card from both Natsumi and Mito as they flew towards him as he caught them, looked at them before a red and black aura surrounded him and the 2 cards as they glowed in a red and black aura. Naruto held out his left hand as 2 new cards appeared as he smirked as he tossed the cards back towards his former sister as they landed next to their duelist before he walked through the portal and far away from Konoha once and for all. End of flashback. Naruto sighed as he put the cards away and left the alleyway, and when he left his eyes widened when he saw how the city his cards told him to go to. Wow, Naruto said in awe, by this place it is very different from his former home. He saw how the people were dressed different, much more modern, with some of them having some strange outfits. He looked at his clothes and saw that he doesn't blend in, since all he had was the bright orange jumped and it doesn't match his Link Joker deck which is red, white and black. Naruto looked around until he found a clothes shop and headed inside. Time skip. Naruto walked out wearing his new outfit. He is now wearing a long white sleeveless tailcoat with a high collar and red accents, a black and red bodysuit underneath, and a matching gauntlet on his right arm. Naruto smirked at his new outfit. That's better. Naruto said as he now feels more in touch with Link Joker. Then he started to walk around trying to find something, but noticed that a lot of shops were closing, knowing that he won't be able to find an apartment tonight, so he'll have to wait until tomorrow. But he kept walking until he found an old broken down abandoned building which he walked inside and saw an old bed in one of the rooms. He sighed, better than nothing. Naruto said as he laid down on the bed and instantly fell asleep. Dream. Naruto is now standing in a void of space with stars everywhere. He looked, then in front of Naruto, his 4 dragons appeared in front of. Hello Naruto. Infinite Zero greeted their duelist. Hello. Naruto greeted them back. How are you feeling? Nebula Lord asked after having destroyed his sisters. Honestly, I feel free but at the same time confused. I finally no longer have the shackles attached to me that were that place that was supposed to be my home, along with my supposed to be my family. And after I crushed my sisters and seeing them on the ground I felt nothing. I don't know whether it's heartless or justice for all the bullying and abuse towards me. I guess that's why I'm confused. Naruto said. The dragons glanced to each other before back to Naruto. You don't have to find the answer right now, but what you should do is focus on the future and no longer have to worry about the past. Chaos, Breaker replied. Naruto turned to the dragons, but what if my past comes back to haunt me? Naruto asked. We won't lie to you, it will the past always come back to haunt someone, and we'll make sure you're ready for when that happens. Schwartz's child explained as Naruto nodded his head. Thank you. He thanked his ace dragons. Don't worry about it, after all you are our duelist and so far you have proven to be one of our best duelists we've chosen despite being so young. Nebula Lord explained as Naruto smirked and nodded his head. Thank you and I won't let you guys down. I'll continue to get stronger. I'll build my new life here and show the world the true power of Link Joker. Naruto said with a red and black aura surrounded him and the dragons smirked knowing they made the right choice in letting him be their duelist. Meanwhile at Konoha. Kushina, Minato, Inoichi, Noriko, Kizashi and Mibuyuki are outside of hospital room watching their children who are laying on hospital beds, beat up and burned badly. Mito and Natsumi, more than Ino and Sakura. As Tsunade and her assistant Shizune are examining them. Minato also took notice of Ino and Sakura's burned deck of cards, while Mito and Natsumi's decks aren't, but all of their duel discs are destroyed. Then the doors opened, Minato. Everyone turned and saw Jiraiya running in. We came as soon as we can. What happened? Jiraiya asked as Minato turned his head with Jiraiya following his gaze and gasped when he saw his goddaughters laying on the hospital beds. Who did this? Jiraiya asked pissed off. I don't know. Minato said as Kushina never took her eyes off her children as she rubbed her stomach where her fourth child is resting inside of her. Then something hit her and she turned to her husband. Minato, have you seen Naruto? Kushina asked as Minato turned to her and shook his head. No, I haven't. I haven't seen him all day. Minato said as Kushina was beginning to get worried. What if whoever did this went after Naruto? Kushina shouted as Minato was now worried. Anbu? Minato shouted as a group of Anbu appeared kneeling before, find my son now. Minato ordered as they nodded before vanishing into thin air. Kushina fell back into a nearby chair, her eyes focused on her two unconscious daughters. Her worries shifted to her son and if the culprit who attacked the girls was going to do the same to him, the image of her son injured came to mind and she hugged herself, fear running through her spine. Tsunade placed a comforting hand on her student's shoulder. It'll be fine Kushina, I'm sure they'll find Naruto safe. Tsunade said though she was smiling she wasn't so sure herself. Jiraiya however narrowed his eyes at the sight of the two injured Namika's daughters, one of whom he knew would be the child of prophecy. For someone to have been able to do this to them, it shouldn't be possible. In Jiraiya's mind whoever did this was a serious threat that he couldn't allow to exist. They were a threat to the girls, the village and the world. Time skip next day. Heartland. It was a bright day in Heartland and people are going about their business as Naruto is currently walking along the streets of Heartland to get a feel of the city that's he's gonna be living in from now on. So, he wants to learn the best routes to get to where and any other places around. Naruto heard a weak meow somewhere as he turned to an alleyway and he saw a white kitten sleeping in a torn box. He walked up to it, he bent down to the kitten's level. Hey there, kitten. Naruto said in a soft tone and warm tone, making the kitten back away in fear. Hey. It's okay, I won't hurt you. Naruto continued in the same tone, then he got a biscuit and offered it to the kitten. The kitten slowly walked up to Naruto before it ate the biscuit out of Naruto's hand before he gently picked the kitten up and started to pat and run it making the kitten purr. Naruto smiled since the kitten now trusted him, then he noticed the kitten has a collar and a tag. Naruto read the tag Kathy Catherine. Oh, good and there's an address. Let's get you home little one. Naruto said before he turned and walked away. Naruto soon came to an old-looking mansion. Naruto rechecked the tag, this is the right place. Naruto said as he walked up to the gate and pressed a button. After a few minutes of waiting, hello. A soft female voice came from a speaker. Hello. Is this where Kathy Catherine lives? Naruto asked. Why yes I do why. The girl's voice who identified herself as Kathy. Oh good, did you lose a cat with pure white fur by any chance? Naruto asked. Yes I did, I've been worried about her, is she okay? Kathy asked. Not only is she okay, I have her right here. Naruto replied as suddenly the speaker was quiet. Soon the doors opened and a young girl around the same age as Naruto ran out of the door. She has two pieces of her gray hair held up by clips which give her the appearance of having cat ears. She has large and expressive green eyes which appear to have no eyebrows. She is also wearing a pair of large, square-framed glasses. Her outfit consisted of a mostly black dress with a white cattail attached and clawed gloves. She has black and white over knee-high socks and black Mary Jane shoes. The gates opened as Naruto walked in and headed the girl the kitten as she hugged it with a happy and relieved smile. "Oh, my girl, I was so worried about you when you didn't come home last night." Kathy hugged the life out of the kitten as the kitten nuzzled her cheek into Kathy's cheek. Soon Kathy turned to Naruto who blushed at his appearance and warm smile. Thank you Kathy whispered softly, but Naruto heard her. "Naruto. My name is Naruto, and you must be Kathy, right?" Naruto asked as Kathy blushed and nodded meekly. "Why yes." Kathy whispered again. "Well, I'm glad that I was able to return your kitten." Naruto replied as Kathy lost her blush before she nodded and smiled back. "Yes, thank you Naruto-kun." Kathy thanked the blonde. "No worries Kathy." Naruto replied. "Cat." Kathy said as Naruto raised an eyebrow slightly. "Can you call me Cat?" Kathy requested. "Of course, Cat-chan." Naruto replied as Cat blushed again. If you want, you can stay here for a bit, I live here on my own." Kathy offered. "I would love to Cat, but I got to head home now and let's say that if I'm not back before sundown, I'm dead, but here's my number, we can talk whenever we want, how does that sound?" Naruto asked as he offered her a piece of paper with his number as Cat nodded happily and excitedly. "Yes. Of course, Naruto-kun. I would love that, Naya." Kathy said as they swapped numbers before Naruto turned and walked away, not before waving one last time back to Cat who waved back. Once he was out of sight, Kathy looked slightly sad again as she walked inside, closed the door, leaned back on the door, and slowly slid down to the floor. Her heart was beating so fast, he's perfect Naya. Kathy thought to herself as the blonde was constantly on her mind and she couldn't wait to talk to him again. Outside of the mansion Naruto is walking out before turning back to Kathy's home and smiled. "I've spent less than 24 hours here and I already have more friends than I did back in Konoha. Coming here was the right choice." Naruto said before turning around and walked away. Time skip. Naruto is walking through the shops right now since he doesn't want to go home yet and he still has time left before the sun goes down, so he figured he might as well explore around. "But Ryauga, you promised me you would take me shopping." A girl's voice called out as Naruto turned and saw two people around his age. A boy and a girl that Naruto assumed that they were siblings. The girl is tugging on the guy's shirt with a pleading expression while the guy looked like he wanted to be anywhere but there. "Yeah, I did, but I don't want to now Rio. I want to go home." The boy that Naruto assumed was Ryauga said to the girl called Rio. "You always say that. Come on Ryauga, we hardly go out and do things anymore. And you know Tusan and Kasan are out please big brother." Rio replied. Naruto saw that Ryauga really didn't want to go, so he decided to step in. "Hey." Naruto called out as the two turned to him, "If you want, I can take her shopping." Naruto offered as Ryauga stepped in front of his sister. "And you are?" Ryauga asked with narrowed eyes. "Naruto, no last name." "And you too?" Naruto asked back. "Kamishiro Ryauga." The purple hair boy properly introduced himself. "Hey Kamishiro Rio." The blue hair girl slightly hid behind her brother. Naruto smiled at the pair. "Well Rio, how about I take you shopping while you brother gets to go home, like he wants?" Naruto offered again as Ryauga narrowed his eyes again, which made Naruto think of a shark. "Why would you do that, we don't even know you. And there's no way I would leave my sister in the hands of a stranger." Ryauga said in a dangerous tone. Naruto nodded his head, "Fair, I wouldn't either, but you can either put up with your sister's shopping, or you can let me do that. And if we aren't home by," Naruto said as he looked at his watch, "it's 2 o'clock right now, so how about we aren't at your house by 4:30, then you can beat me up as much as you want." Naruto offered as Ryauga narrowed his eyes as he didn't trust the blonde one bit. He was about to refuse when Rio tugged on his sleeve making him turn to her. "It's okay Ryauga, I feel like we can trust him." Rio said as Ryauga's eyes widened before he glanced back at Naruto. "Fine, 4:30 and not a minute later, or else. I'll get my dad to bring her home and we'll give you a world of hurt." Ryauga growled at Naruto who nodded as the blonde offered his hand as Ryauga took it and the two shook hands. Ryauga walked away leaving the two alone. "So Rio-chan, where did you want to go?" Naruto asked with a friendly smile which made Rio's cheek turn pink slightly. "Well I need to go to this clothing store." Rio said slightly nervous and embarrassed. "Okay, lead the way then, since I only just arrived at Heartland City not too long ago and I only know where the grocery store is, so you'll have to guide me." Naruto said as he rubbed the back of his head slightly embarrassed as well, which made Rio giggle at that. "Okay, follow me." Rio said as she and Naruto walked side by side. The two had a lot of fun, hanging out at the shops, with Rio buying a bunch of clothes with Naruto paying for all of them to show her good faith, which made Rio very, very happy. Naruto carried her bags, the two had lunch, which again Naruto paid for it, then Naruto got the groceries for his dinner tonight with this time since before he dueled Sakura, Ino and his sisters, he took a trip to the Uzumaki and Namikaze vaults and helped himself to a bit of the money there, not a lot where they won't noticed, but not a little where he won't have to worry about food for a bit. Rio carrying the bags since they weren't that heavy and she felt bad that Naruto paid for all of clothes she wanted and carried the bags for her. Right now, they were outside of the Kamishiro household. Thank you Naruto, I had so much fun. Rio said very happy tone. Naruto nodded in agreement, I did as well Rio. Naruto replied with a warm smile that made Rio blush slightly as she turned away, before she quickly wrote something down on a piece of paper. H here. Rio gave the paper to Naruto as he saw a phone number was written on it, call me if you want to hang out again. Rio requested as she was moving her shoulders up and down embarrassingly as she shifted her eyes not looking at Naruto. Naruto smiled as he did the same thing on another piece of paper, then gave it to Rio, of course and you can do the same Rio-chan. Naruto replied as Rio smiled brightly and nodded her head fast. Thank you, Naruto, have a good day. Rio said as she ran inside leaving Naruto alone. Naruto smiled before he took off as Rip watched him leave through the window and sighed in happiness, well someone is happy. A familiar voice to Rio said as she snapped behind her and saw her parents behind her with his mother smirking and her father looking a bit peeved. Ryuga said that you hanged out with a boy around your age. Her father said. Rio sweated on the outside feeling her father's stare at her, but on the inside she was furious at her brother for ratting her out. Why yeah I did too san. Rio said. And where is the boy now? This Naruto? He asked again. He's gone, he left. Rio said quickly. That I don't want any boys around my babao. Rio's father shouted before her mother pulled his ear. Enough dear Rio just made a new friend you should be happy for her. She said as she let go as he rubbed his ear. I won't be happy until I see what kind of person he is. He replied. Oh, go and start preparing dinner I'll be there to help Shorty. She told him. Yes dear. He replied as he kissed her cheek and walked away leaving the mother and daughter alone. Rio-chan? She asked her daughter. Rio gulped why yes Ka-chan? Rio asked. Do you think that this Naruto is a nice person and that you can trust him? She asked. Rio thought about it for a bit before nodding, I do. She answered as her mother smiled. Alright then, I can't wait to meet him. She replied before she stood up, why don't you put those clothes away dear we'll call you when dinner is ready. She continued as her daughter nodded. Yes, Ka-san. Rio said before she ran to her room. Next day with Naruto. Naruto sighed as he sat in the building seeing how damp and dark it is, he'll have to fix it up or at least get money until he can get a better place. Tomorrow was his first day of Heartland Academy he wasn't too thrilled about it, but it had to be done. The sun shined and Naruto was making his way to Heartland Academy, it was a school that offered grades from elementary to high school, and Naruto was about to start junior high, he is wearing the first year school outfit, but he will be a year older than the rest of his classmates, but it's to be expected since he hasn't been to this school before. But it'll be alright since he found out if he aced everything, he might be able to move up a year. Naruto stood next to his teacher who appeared to be a young man, but seemed nice enough, you must be the new student right? The man asked. Yes sir, I am. Naruto replied. The man smiled, great, I'm Kitano. Kitano introduced. Nice to meet you Kitano-sensei. I'm Naruto. Naruto introduced as Kitano raised an eyebrow. No last name? Kitano asked. Naruto had to keep it in and not twitch in the slightest, no. Naruto answered. But Kitano didn't seem convinced, but he didn't push it, alright then, follow me. Kitano said as he walked with Naruto following him. Soon they arrived at a room where Naruto heard students talking loudly until the door opened and Kitano walked, alright students take your seats. Kitano shouted so he can be heard as all the students took to their seats as he walked to the desk and turned to the door, alright come in. He said as the students turned to the door and saw Naruto walking in as he stopped at the side of his desk. He saw a bunch of the girls blushing hotly by how wild he looks with his blonde hair and whisker-like marks on his cheeks. Class, we have a new student joining us today. Please introduce yourself. Kitano said. Hey my name's Naruto nice to meet ya. Naruto said bowing slightly to the class as they began to whisper amongst themselves about the new kid. Please take your seat in the fourth seat in the third row Naruto. The teacher instructed with Naruto taking his seat. Alright class to start up why don't we talk about what we're gonna be when you grow up. Kitano said as the students started to think about what they want to do before he turned to Naruto. Naruto, why don't you start us off? Kitano asked as the students turned to him. Naruto glanced up thinking, I guess well I don't know what I want to do when I grow up. But I'm not in a rush since I have all the time in the world to think about what I want to do. Naruto said as some of the students nodded in agreement, not sure what they want to do either. Kitano nodded as well. Good answer Naruto, since as you said you kids have all the time in the world, there is no rush at all. And even if you decide on something now, it might not be what you want to be later. Kitano replied, then he turned to Yuma. Yuma. What do you want to be? Kitano asked. Naruto turned to a boy who smiled and stood up. That's easy, I want to be a duel champion. Yuma shouted as some of the students laughed at his silliness, while the green-haired girl that is sitting next to him shook her head. Everyone else talked about what they want to do, some shared a response like Naruto, and others talked about being pro-duelist, and some wanted to be like their parents. The rest of the class was boring, and Naruto was on his way outside for lunch. He was told most kids had lunch on the rooftop, and students would often hold duels up there. Naruto bit down into his sandwich, watching on as several duels took place. He heard some footsteps and looked over to see the boy who shouted he's gonna be a dueling champion, and he's holding a deck of cards in front of Naruto. What do you want, kid? I'm eating. Naruto said. Kid. We're the same age. The boy responded, a bit annoyed. No, I'm a year older, I'm only in your class due to my grades since this is my first day here. Naruto responded. The boy looked annoyed before he shook his head. Whatever, I'm Yuma, I challenge you to a duel. The boy said, pointing at the blonde. Not interested. Besides, why would I want to duel you? Naruto asked. Because duels are all about taking on new challenges and facing the unknown. The boy said with a smile, plus every duel is a chance to make a new friend. Naruto was surprised by the boy's words, but decided to shrug it off. No thanks. Naruto answered as he finished the rest of his sandwich and stood up. Yuma looked surprised by this. Why? Yuma asked. 3, 2, 1 Naruto counted down, confusing Yuma. Why? Ring. The bell went off telling the students lunch was over, that's why. I don't want to be late to class on my first day because of a duel. So, goodbye. Naruto said as he walked away, leaving an annoyed Yuma, but he understood what he meant. He knew his sister and his grandmother would not be happy if he skipped class to duel. Yuma. A voice shouted as he turned and saw the green-hair girl. Katori, what are you doing here? Yuma asked. The girl named Katori stopped in front of Yuma and pouted. I was looking for you after you ran off to duel. Katori said as Yuma rubbed the back of his head. Sorry. But I couldn't duel since I spent too much time eating, and when I was about to duel someone he refused, and when I asked why the bell went off. Yuma said. Katori sighed, knowing that her best friend is a lost cause when it comes to dueling and eating. Okay, but we better get back to class then. Katori said as Yuma nodded in agreement as they both ran back to class. Time skip. Naruto was walking away after from the school. Hey. A voice called out to him as he turned as he saw the same boy who challenged him earlier, Yuma, but this time he's joined by 2 others, a girl the same age as Yuma with green hair and another boy the same age as the pair in front of Naruto. Oh, it's you again. Can I help you? Naruto asked with an eyebrow raised. Yeah, I want to have that duel. The same boy as he pointed at Naruto with a smile. Naruto stared at the boy. Why? Naruto asked. Because, I want to duel against everyone I meet so I can get stronger and one day be a duel champion. So please duel me. He shouted. Naruto instantly now knows why this kid caught his attention. He reminds him of himself while he was living in the village. Seeing that there was no way out, okay sure. Naruto replied as his smile grew while the girl and other boy smiled as well. Awesome. Thanks. I'm Yuma, Tsukumo Yuma. And these 2 are my best friends, the boy now known as Yuma introduced himself. The girl with green hair walked up and bowed slightly. I'm Katori, Mizuki Katori. Katori introduced herself. Now the other boy walked up, and I'm Tetsuo, Takeda Tetsuo. Tetsuo introduced himself. Naruto shook their hands. It's very nice to meet all 3 of you. I'm Naruto, just Naruto. Naruto introduced himself as all 3 raised an eyebrow. No last name? Katori asked with a curious expression. Naruto managed to suppress a growl. Nope, I've always been just Naruto. Naruto replied since it wasn't a lie, since he didn't feel like an Uzumaki or an Amicus, and he didn't want his so-called parents' names either. Yuma smiled. Well, it's nice to meet you, Naruto. Let's duel now. Yuma shouted with an excited grin. Suddenly Katori grabbed his ear. Ow, Katori. Yuma shouted as he failed his arms. Yuma, the school is about to close for the day, we need to leave. Katori reminded as Tetsuo chuckled at his friends. None of them saw Naruto's slight smirk on his face as Katori released Yuma's ear as he rubbed it. Okay, I know the perfect spot, follow me. Naruto said as he turned, then started walking out of the school with the others following him. Soon they were at a good area for a duel. Let's begin duel. Naruto and Yuma shouted as they drew 5 cards. As Yuma, Katori and Tetsuo put on duel gazes while Naruto had a black dueling tattoo, that is the Link Joker symbol, with his eye being the center of it and his pupil changed from blue to red. Time skip. Final turn. Naruto shouted, surprising all three, dragon of the black and white link that can destroy an entire army attack. Naruto chanted as Yuma's eyes widen in fear, Infinite Zero Dragon. Infinite Zero fired a red and black energy beam from his mouth that slammed into Yuma and sent him off his feet. Aye. Yuma screamed as he crashed into the ground. Yuma LP. 0. Naruto. Winner. Well, that's it. Naruto said as he was disappointed as his dueling tattoo disappeared since the deck has potential, but Yuma, if he was being brutally honest, he isn't that great of a duelist. No, he sucks as a duelist, he just keeps on attacking without thinking and forgot the basics of dueling. Well, I guess not everyone is a prodigy like him. As Naruto turned to walk away, wait. Yuma shouted as Naruto turned around and saw Yuma standing up, let's go again. Yuma shouted as he pointed at Naruto. You already lost, Yuma, don't push yourself. Naruto replied. I won't take no for an answer. Yuma shouted. Naruto started Yuma again before he sighed, seeing that he wasn't going to change his mind. Okay then. I'm skip. With Nebula Lord Dragon. Attack. Nebula screeched as he aimed his right hand at Yuma, who braced himself as Nebula fired black lightning from his hand that slammed into Yuma and sent him flying again. Aye. Yuma crashed into the ground again but quickly got back up. Let's go again. Yuma shouted. I'm skip. With unrivaled Star Vader Raid-On. Attack. Raid-On fired a red energy beam from his blaster at Gagaga Magician before he exploded and sent Yuma flying and crashed into the ground again. Come on, one more. I'm skip. Mobius Breath Dragon. Attack. Mobius fired a red and black energy beam at Yuma that sent him flying again and he crashed into the ground again. Man, that makes 10 straight losses. Tetsuo said with a slight frown. Yeah, I don't think Yuma can beat Naruto-san. Katori said as Tetsuo nodded in agreement as he turned to him. His deck is so different from any other I've seen. Tetsuo said as Katori nodded in agreement. Yeah, it feels like I'm staring at a void of nothingness. Katori said with a slight shiver. Yeah, it's weird, but the deck itself is really cool. Tetsuo replied. Yuma just give up already. Naruto said as he saw that Yuma was slowly getting back on his feet with his head tilted down, making his hair shadow his eyes. Naruto was about to walk away again. I won't give. Yuma shouted as Naruto turned back to Yuma as he lifted his head, and to Naruto's shock, his eyes didn't show any form of giving up. I won't give up. Never ever. I won't give up until I reach the top. Yuma shouted in determination. Katori and Tetsuo turned to each other, smiling at each other, before they turned to Naruto to see how he'll respond. Naruto stared at Yuma for a bit until a small smirk appeared on his face. I can tell that you have potential, Yuma. You can't beat me now, but maybe one day, you might be able to. But keep practicing, never give, and above all, follow your heart. Naruto replied as his smirk grew, and I'll happily take you on any time. Naruto replied as he got his dual disc activated again as Yuma smiled as he did the same. Time skip. It was well past dark as Yuma laid on the ground panting and sweating from exhaustion as Tetsuo and Katori are standing next to him as Naruto is also panting slightly from his nose. Damn, this kid has more determination and energy than my entire class. Naruto thought to himself while panting slightly, starting to feel a bit winded. Indeed, 30 straight losses and yet his determination never wavered once. That alone is impressive. Nebula Lord voiced his opinion, but only Naruto could hear him. Agreed, determination and never backing down is the pride and heart of a true duelist and warrior. Schwarzschild added on with Naruto nodded to himself in agreement with his dragons. Naruto offered Yuma a hand as all three smiled as Yuma grabbed it and the former pulled the ladder up. I can see you improving, Yuma. As I said, keep practicing, never give up and follow your heart. Naruto repeated his words from earlier. May. A girl's voice screamed as Tetsuo as well as Katori flinched as Yuma looked pale white while Naruto slightly jumped at the voice as they all turned and saw two women, one is a teenager that is in her high school clothes and the other is a short old lady. So this is where you've been, you little twerp, and you've been dueling. The teenager shouted as she crackled her knuckles threatened. Now Yuma, please tell us why you disobeyed the rules of being home before and after dark. The old lady asked with an innocent smile, but a dark and sinister aura surrounded her that promised pain if Yuma didn't answer. Well, you see, Yuma stuttered as he is sweating like crazy before all four kids found themselves being dragged by the back of their uniforms by the teenager. Wait until we get home, Yuma, you're in for a world of hurt. And don't think you're off the hook either, Tetsuo and Katori. I didn't think that either of you would follow Yuma's bad habits, your parents are worried about you too. The teenager shouted as all three paled white. The teenager turned to Naruto, and while I don't know who you are, your parents are gonna hear about this as well, they're probably worried about you when we get back to our house. The girl shouted as she turned back as Naruto lowered his head as he silently gritted his teeth when he heard that his parents would be worried about him. That would be a first, but he didn't want to make a scene, so he allowed the teenage to drag him. Something the old lady saw and raised an eyebrow with a confused look, but she'll talk to him when they get home, as she turned straight again. Naruto didn't know how he got dragged into this, one moment he was dueling Yuma, one moment, and then the next moment his sister Kari and grandmother Haru dragged him, Yuma as Yuma's two friends Kotori and Tetsuo. Then Kotori and Tetsuo's parents gave their children an earful before leaving Naruto and Yuma with Yuma's family. And now the next thing Naruto knew, he's sitting down to have lunch with his classmate and his family. Millimeter. Grandma's rice balls are the best. Yuma said, mulching down with two rice balls in hand. He then saw Naruto and noticed he had nothing on his plate. "Hey Naruto, what's wrong, you aren't eating?" Not really." Naruto said when he noticed a plate of food being handed to him. "That won't do, here you go dear, eat up, you look like you haven't had a nice meal in days." Granny Haru said with a warm smile. Naruto was surprised but accepted the food nonetheless. He picked up a piece of fried shrimp and took a bite. His eyes widened and soon dug into his food vigorously, much to the Tsukumo matriarch's amusement. As Naruto he looked around the table, seeing Yuma getting into an argument with his sister, while Kotori tried stopping it, while Bronx sat back and ate. Naruto couldn't help but reminisce to his past life when he was sitting down with his family to dinner. Even in those times, he never really felt like he belonged there. He would watch as Mito would make up a big fuss while Natsumi would be watching calmly, Kushina would laugh at her sister's actions, while Minato tried to calm her down. Whenever he saw those smiles, he couldn't feel anything. Naruto set his plate down, letting out a sigh. "Hey Naruto, are you okay?" Yuma asked. "I'm fine, I think I should be heading home." Naruto said, getting up from the table, giving a polite bow to Haru. "Thank you for the meal, Ms. Tsukumo," he said as he turned to leave. "If you ever want to come over for dinner again, you're more than welcome, son," Haru said to Naruto, causing him to freeze up at the door. Naruto closed his eyes, turning back to the elderly woman. "I may just take you up on that," he said as he went on his way. The young boys leaving had left an odd feeling in the air. Yuma couldn't help but have a sad expression on his face. "Naruto," Yuma uttered. "Those people were very nice," Nebula Lord said, appearing above. "Yeah, they are," Naruto said, looking up to the setting sun. "I take hanging with that Yuma kid and his family brought back some bad memories, eh?" Chaos Breaker asked. "Not bad, just memories," Naruto said, walking along his path. "Well, I for one think Yuma has a good heart. He's nice to bright but has heart," Schwartz's child said as she hovered beside her fellow dragons. Schwartz's child has two mechanical wing blades, two above her head. Each wing has crimson glowing spikes on the wings in a circle pattern and 4 arms instead of 2. A crimson visor over her eyes, but the visor goes upwards, making them look like horns, a giant black and black mechanical ring behind it. "Yeah, he does, even if he can't duel worth a darn," Naruto chuckled. "Yeah, he clearly doesn't know how to handle his own deck," Chaos Breaker said, crossing his arms. As they walked forward, they reached an abandoned factory building. Naruto planted himself down on an old couch, resting with his hands behind his back before he drifted off to sleep. Meanwhile, across the vast seas in Konoha, things had not been going well, especially for the Namikaze family. Minato Namikaze had seen better days in his life. After the revolution, that his son had not only defeated both his daughters in a duel, as well as Ino and Sakura in a duel, destroying Ino's and Sakura's cards, but also caused massive damage to the forest when they had battled. He had dispatched the special security unit, the Anbu Black Ops, to find him. Despite their best efforts, they hadn't been able to locate even a trace of Naruto. He'd recruited the Izuka family and dispatched the Uchiha police force to help in the search, but they had turned up with nothing at all. Naruto's disappearance had taken a heavy toll on Kushina. Upon discovering her son had run away, she fainted Tsunade, and Shizune immediately rushed to her care. It was then he learned from them that Kushina was pregnant with their 4th child and had been planning to announce it during family dinner. Kushina had been admitted to hospital care under Tsunade's supervision, but when they had come to visit her, he saw the dull, faded look in her once vibrant gray eyes. The loss of her son was weighing heavily on her. His daughters were faring no better. After they were released from the hospital, the two had all but locked themselves in their room. He couldn't understand whether this was the shame or anger of being defeated by Naruto and losing their treasured cards. Itsumi sighed, sitting in her bed, thinking to the harsh words Naruto had told them during their duel. "I'm done waiting to be acknowledged as part of this family, waiting for people to stop abusing me, talking about me behind my back, treating me like I'm the plague. I've had enough of it all. So don't expect us to be family ever again. You are all years late if you think we'll be family again." Naruto's words echoed through her mind. She still saw that look in his eyes, that hate, that anger. Naruto. Natsumi sighed. "With Mito. Damn it," Mito shouted, punching into the nearby wall, gritting her teeth in rage as she is alone in her bedroom with the lights off. How could this happen? How could this happen? How could she have been humiliated by her brother like that? Since she was young, she'd always been told she'd been destined for great things, and so she devoted her life to growing stronger as a duelist. Then there was her brother Naruto, the little goof who never trained hard a day in his life, always slacking off, playing pranks, and causing trouble for her and embarrassing their family. Yet somehow, he had been able to win duels, it was almost as if he had a natural gift for it. It infuriated her that she had to work every day of her life, yet he made it all look easy. He even had a habit of talking to his cards like they were real when they were just a bunch of pieces of ink and paper. She was given her dad's gold paladin deck when she was younger, and despite that and all of the training she did with the gold paladins, she could never defeat her brother with his royal paladin deck. It annoyed her to no end. And so, she decided to take them away by ripping them. With them gone, she thought he would never be able to beat her ever again, without the deck that was smoking her. But now not only does he have a new deck that is somehow even more powerful than his royal paladin deck, with a technique that seems to be unbeatable, but is strong enough to put her sister, and her friends in the hospital. And to top all of this off, not only did he leave, but he also took blonde Zexal as a trophy like he was mocking her. She hated it. Argh. Mito screamed before she fell on her knees. I guess this is my punishment, huh? Mito asked herself as she sat down and lifted her legs up to her chest and wrapped her arms around them as she sat in the darkness. In the Hokage office. Within his office, Minato leaned into his chair trying to think of what to do about this situation. Hey kid. Minato turned over to see his faithful teacher Jiraiya sitting outside the window. Hello sensei. Naruto said. I've tried using my resources investigating, but they haven't been able to find any sign of the kid. Jiraiya sighed. I see. Minato said. You can't dwell on the past kid, you need to focus on the matter at hand. Jiraiya said Natsumi and Mito's defeat shows the two of them need to improve their skills if they're gonna be able to face the coming dangers in the future. I understand that sensei, but they're both very upset right now given what's happened. My family needs time to heal before we get back into any kid of training. Minato said. Jiraiya crossed his arms giving a stern look to his former pupil, but sighed. I understand kid, but don't forget the mission. Jiraiya said leaving out the window. Jiraiya knew what the family was going through was hard times, but that was insignificant when compared to the fate of the world. Throughout his life Jiraiya had traveled around seeing the pain and sorrow of the world. During the war times when villages has misused the powers of the spritz for war, he'd lost many friends and seen many promising youths cut down in the flower of their youth. He watched sadly as Tsunade mourned the deaths of Dan and Nawaki. He'd wanted to comfort her, but he knew her heart would always belong to Dan. So, he decided he would simply watch and protect her from afar. When he was told by the toads about the child of prophecy, he saw something he had begun to hope to finally put an end to all this meaningless fighting to forge a world when everyone could understand each other, where people would no longer lose their lives senselessly and could live them out to the fullest. This was a world he longed to see, and he was determined to make it reality, regardless of what had to be done. Minato sighed, not liking it, but understood the mission. I know sensei, I know. Minato said sadly. Jiraiya nodded his head, good, and don't worry, after all of this, we'll find Naruto. It's not like he could have gotten very far. Jiraiya reassured as Minato nodded, knowing that as well. But what neither of them knew is that Naruto is far, far away. Next day, Heartland City. Naruto was walking through the Heartland Park grounds going on a nice sightseeing trip. As he walked by he caught the eye of a certain girl. Hey Naruto. Naruto turned around surprised to see Ryo running over to him. Oh hey Ryo. Naruto said. Hey, I didn't know you were gonna be here. Ryo said. I could say the same, what are you doing here? Naruto asked. I was on way to the park. Do you want to come with me? Ryo asked. I don't know. Naruto said with a bit of hesitation. It'll be hey Naruto. The pair looked over to see Yuma, Katori and Tetsuo running towards them. Naruto's eye lightly twitched seeing the trio. Can't anything be easy for me today? Naruto thought. Hello, who are you guys? Ryo asked. My name's Yuma, Yuma Tsukumo. Yuma introduced. I'm Katori, and this is. Katori turned to Tetsuo who was frozen in place with a pink tint on his cheek, his eyes focused on Ryo. Bah, Tetsuo uttered. This is Tetsuo. Yuma said, patting his friend's shoulder with a shaky smile, confused by his dazed look. My name's Ryo Kamishiro, it's nice to meet you all. Ryo said with a polite bow. Nice to meet you, Ryo. Yuma said, shaking her hand. Likewise Yuma. Ryo smiled. Hey, since we're all here, why don't head to the park together? Yuma suggested. Mightn't I? Naruto cried out as Yuma grabbed his hand, pulling him along. Come on, nothing better than having fun with friends, let's go. Yuma shouted with a wide grin. Naruto sighed, it was like he couldn't escape this kid. The group soon arrived at Heartland Park. It was a relatively normal place with a playground, wide open green space, litterbits picking up scarps of trash as they moved by. This place looks like a pretty nice place. Naruto said, impressed, reminded of his days in Konoha when he would pass by the parks with his family. As the five of them were getting to know each other better, with Tori and Rio talking the most to each other as. Naruto picked up a sound as they walked closer to the park. Once they got there, they saw two young girls their age with red-purple eyes and teal waist-length hair dyed lilac at the tips. She wore a traditional white martial arts uniform with a black belt. The other girl has tan girl with mauve eyes and grey neck-length hair. She is wearing a long red coat with a black inner layer and silver buttons, white riding pants, a brown belt around her waist and black-heeled boots. She took a stance and began to kick at several wooden martial arts stands one after the other. "Wow. So cool," Rio said with stars in her eyes. They turned to see the four kids and her eyes caught sight of Rio, causing stars to appear in her eyes as well. "So cute. Like a princess." The girl said, awed by Rio's beauty. Her eyes then fell on Naruto and gasped as the aura of a fearsome dragon appeared behind her. She narrowed her eyes before she ran towards the four, jumping into the air with her leg raised up as she launched a kick towards Naruto, who held up his arms blocking the strike, causing a small shockwave lightly pushing Rio, Katori, and Yuma back. Naruto and the girl narrowed their eyes at each other before she jumped back, glaring heatedly at Naruto, who glared back as a green aura surrounded the girl and a red one. Naruto, soon a tiger and a dragon hovered over them. Yuma and Tetsuo hid behind the girls, slightly shivering a bit from the heated stare down. Suddenly they heard a soft bit of chuckling coming from both children, which soon evolved into full-out laughter, surprising Yuma, Katori, Tetsuo, Rio and the silver hair girl as they looked on. "My name is Haruka Kumiho," Haruka introduced, holding out her hand. "Naruto, just Naruto," Naruto said, shaking the girl's hand. "And my name is Asana Mitsuba," the silver hair girl introduced herself. "Nice to meet you, I'm Yuma Tsukumo," Yuma introduced himself with a giant smile. "I'm Katori, Mizuki Katori," Katori greeted as she bowed. "Name's Tetsuo, Takeda Tetsuo," Tetsuo introduced himself with a thumbs up. "I'm Rio Kamishiro," Rio finally introduced herself. Asana nodded her head with a smile. "It's nice to meet all of you," she replied. Haruka didn't answer as she kept staring at Naruto, who stared back. "Naruto, I challenge you to a duel," Haruka shouted, holding her deck, surprising everyone. "Araki, why are you challenging him?" Asana shouted. "Because his eyes," Haruka answered as Asana turned and saw the look in Naruto's eyes, determination and unwavering confidence. "I like the look in his eyes, but I want to see if he can back them up," Haruka continued. "Same here, you have a strong aura, but let's see if your dueling can back you up, Haruka," Naruto replied. "ITS, tiger," Haruka roared as a massive tiger formed behind her and roared as well. Soon everyone took their positions, with Naruto and Haruka standing across from each other as everyone on the sidelines. "You ready?" Naruto shouted. "Ready when you are," Haruka shouted. "Duel," Naruto and Haruka shouted as they both drew 5 cards as Naruto's duel tattoo appeared while everyone else put duel gazers on. "I'll go first, I draw," Haruka shouted as she drew a card, looked at it before turning to Naruto. "I need to test him first," she thought to herself. "I play one monster in defense mode and turn my turn with one face down," Haruka said as she ended her turn with that. Naruto narrowed his eyes. "She's testing me, huh?" Naruto thought to himself. "Alright then, I won't disappoint. I draw," Naruto shouted as he drew his first card, looked at it before adding it to his hand and grabbed another card. "I summon Monoshot Star Vader, Neon," Naruto shouted as Neon appeared. LVL 4ATK 1600 Def 900. Rio, Haruka and Asana were confused and curious when they saw Naruto's monster, Star Vader. Haruka said, confused, never hearing of that archetype before. Asana and Rio turned to Yuma, Katori and Tetsuo. "What kind of deck is that?" she asked. "Well, we don't know much about it ourselves," Katori said. "Yeah, but it's really strong," Yuma said. "Naruto also calls them Link Joker," Tetsuo said. "Link Joker?" Asana asked. "It's interesting," Rio replied, unsure about the deck cause she's never seen them before either. "Neon, attack her face down," Naruto shouted as Neon fired red rings from its guns as Haruka's face down card was flipped fast, revealing it to be Saxophone the Music Princess. LVL 3ATK 1000 Def 1200. "I set 2 cards face down and end my turn," Naruto said as 2 cards materialized in front of him and behind Neon. "Haruka cards in hand. 4. Naruto cards in hand. 3. Haruka shook her head. "A new deck, huh? I expected more, but now. I'm ending this. I draw," Haruka shouted as she drew, looked at the card before showing it. "I activate Graceful Charity. This lets me draw 3 cards, then I send 2 to the graveyard," Haruka shouted as she drew 3 cards, then sent 2 to the graveyard. "Next, I play Monster Reborn, which allows me to summon a monster from my graveyard. His fury is my fury. A violent storm will kick up today as well," Shine on, my namesake. Trumpeted the music fiend. Haruka shouted as an orange mechanical tiger appeared. It has cannon turret on its back with the cannons being trumpets. It have energy claws instead of metal claws, and the tip of the tail is a trumpet and a red scarf around its neck. It roared loudly that created shockwaves that made everyone apart from Naruto shield themselves. LVL7ATK 2300 Def 1500. Whoa, she summoned a high-level monster already. Tetsuo shouted in shock. Is that why she's called Tiger? Katori asked. Asana glanced up, thinking for a bit, don't know why she prefers Tiger instead of her name, the only exception is the name I gave her Haraki. Asana answered as Ryo sweat dropped. Trumpetager's ability, I send one card from the top of my deck to the graveyard to give it 300 attacks points. In addition to that, if I have a level 8 or lower wind monster in my hand, I can summon. Haruka shouted as she did that as Trumpetager roared as it became surrounded by a red aura as everyone on the sidelines covered their ears. LVL7ATK 2300 to 2600 Def 1500. The long, middle-fingered older brother, the standoffish with his pinky. With a swelling breath, he proposes to the thumb princess. Come forth. Did you soon the music fiend? Haruka shouted. As her new monster appeared with its head being green flames with yellow spikes on the side of the head, a metal attachment on the mouth, its arms are open skinny clarinets, while its feet are closed versions of the same clarinets, a red energy symbol behind it, and it has 5 energy clarinets. LVL8ATK 2400 Def 2000. Naruto's friends on the sidelines are shocked by this, it's her first turn, and she's already have 2 monsters with over 2000 attack points. Yuma shouted. I think she's just getting started. Ryo said. Next, I play the spell, Music Princess's Whirling Wind. Well, I have a level 5 or higher wind warrior monster on my field, up to 2 of your monsters are switched from attached to defense mode. Haruka shouted as Neon glowed green as it was forced to kneel with its arms crossed. Why would she switch a monster from attack to defense mode? Now Naruto won't take damage from one of their attacks. Katori said. You'll see, Asana replied as they turned to her who has her arms crossed. Now I activate Digisun's ability. Well, you have a defense position monster, I can send the top card for my deck to the graveyard and Digisun gains 800 for each defense mode monster you have. Haruka shouted as she did that as Digisun became surrounded by a green aura. LVL8ATK 2400 to 3100 Def 2000. Lastly, I play the equip spell Big Bang Shot. I target one monster on my field, it gains 400 attack points, and this turn it can inflict piercing damage. I select Trumpetager. Haruka shouted as Trumpetager roared as the red aura around it grew. LVL7ATK 2600 to 3000 Def 1500. Piercing damage? Yuma asked. It's where you still take damage even if they attack a monster in defense mode. Katori answered. Oh wait, then that means he'll take a Yuma started as he tried to count with his fingers. Neon has only 900 defense points, so he'll take 2100 points of damage and then he'll be wide open for a direct attack. Asana explained much to everyone's shock. She wipe out Naruto's life points this turn. Tetsuo shouted. Naruto instead of looking worried he merely smirked, interesting, show me Haruka. Show me what you're made of. Naruto challenged. ITS, Tiger. Battle. Trumpetager attacks Star Vader Neon. Trumpetager roared as it pounced towards Neon. I play the quick play spell. Star Vader interception. Naruto shouted as one of his cards lifted, this allows me to summon a Star Vader monster from my hand in defense mode, and then the attack monster must attack that one. I summon Reversal Star Vader, Nibelium. Naruto shouted as Nibelium with her arms crossed. LVL6ATK0000 Def 2500. Haruka gritted her teeth, then I'll attack Nibelium. Haruka as Trumpetager changed its direction. Once a turn Nibelium cannot be destroyed in battle. Nibelium created a shield as Trumpetager pounced on it but bounced off as Naruto got zapped. Naruto 3500. Haruka gritted her teeth, Digisun attack Neon. Digisun's flutes aimed at Neon as they gathered energy. Nibelium's ability allows her to become the target of any attack. Naruto shouted as Nibelium went in front of Neon as she created a shield as Digisun fired the flutes that slammed into Nibelium's shield, destroying her and creating a massive explosion. When the smoke cleared it revealed Naruto and Neon unharmed but Nibelium gone. He survived. Yuma cheered. Asana herself was shocked, he managed to make it out. She said shocked as no one their age survived Haruka's ace monsters at once. Haruka gritted her teeth as she closed her eyes and turned away, I end my turn. Haruka said as both of her monsters lost their auras. LVL8ATK 3100 to 2400 Def 2000, LVL7ATK 3000 2600 Def 1500. Naruto smirked, you're really good. Naruto said as Haruka turned to him, very good, I can see you going pro in the future. Naruto added on as Haruka smirked. "Thanks," she replied. Over final turn. Naruto shouted, shocking Haruka and Asana, "I draw." Naruto looked at the card before showing it. "I summoned Star Vader Mobius Breath Dragon." Naruto shouted as Mobius Breath appeared and roared. LVL4ATK 1900 Def 0000. While I control 2 Star Vader monsters, I can summon unrivaled Star Vader, Raid On. Naruto shouted as Raid On appeared. Raid On appeared with its blaster on top of its shoulder. LVL6ATK 2200 Def 1300. Haruka and Ryo then felt an aura coming from Naruto's monsters as they became surrounded by a red and black aura. "Whoa, what vibe?" Haruka whispered. Asano also felt the aura coming from Naruto's monster. "My goodness, Naruto's monsters are giving off an aura." "Yeah, we all felt that, but then it went away," Yuma said. "I think Naruto's deck does that whenever they face someone new," Katori said. "Since I control a Star Vader monster, I can summon Star Vader, White Knight Fenrir." Naruto shouted as Fenrir appeared and howled. LVL4ATK 1400 Def 800. I overlay, Fenrir and Neon. Naruto shouted as both monsters flew into a black galaxy portal that exploded, the dragon of the black and white link. Star Vader Infinite Zero Dragon. Naruto chanted as Infinite Zero roared as it appeared and roared. RNK4ATK 2400 Def 1600 Oru 2. Haruka and Asana were shocked by what Naruto summoned as it growled at Haruka, but she gritted her teeth, not afraid, but it did make her sweat. Naruto grabbed the last card. "For my last card, I play Overlay Lock, which I can detach as many overlay units as I want to lock a card on your field," Naruto said. "Lock?" Ryo, Haruka and Asana said. "I detached 2 overlay units from Infinite Zero to lock Trumpetager and your face down." Naruto shouted as he pointed at Haruka's field as both of Infinite Zero's overlay units flew towards the targeted cards as they turned into red and black rings that grew and engulfed them as they entered the lock state. Ryo, Haruka and Asana were shocked by this as Haruka turned to her duel disc as she saw her Trumpetager card is face down attack mode with red and black sparks coming out of the card as her equipped card shattered in yellow particulars. This Naruto started as Ryo, Haruka and Asana turned to him is the power of Link Joker, the ability to seal their opponents in an endless void. "This is Link Joker," Naruto said. Ryo and Asana were shocked by this powerful ability that this new deck possess, while Haruka gritted her teeth. "I will not be scared by this," Haruka shouted as Naruto smirked. "I'm glad you're not." Battle Raid On attacked Ijisun. Naruto ordered as Raid On aimed its blaster at the musical warrior. When Raid On attacks it gains 300 attack points. Naruto shouted. LVL6ATK 2200 to 2500 Def 1300. Haruka growled as he grabbed her face down. "I play my ow." Haruka shouted in pain as the card zapped her. "What the hell?" Haruka shouted. Raid On fired its blaster that slammed into Digisun that created an explosion that made Haruka shield herself. Haruka 3900. When the explosion died down, she glared at Naruto. "Why couldn't I activate my trap?" Haruka shouted. "I told you, the ability to seal their opponents in an endless void. While in a locked state they can't do anything, locked spells and traps cannot be activated, and locked monsters can't do anything either," Naruto explained, shocking Ryo, Haruka and Asana. "So this is Link Joker," Asana said as she stared at Naruto's monster. "What a powerful deck," Ryo whispered. Naruto pointed his fingers at Haruka. Mobius Breath and Infinite Zero attack Haruka directly. Naruto shouted as both Infinite Zero and Mobius Breath Dragon roared as they both fired beams that slammed into Haruka and created an explosion. DGGRRRRR. Arg. Haruka grunted before screamed as she was thrown off her feet and landed on her back. Haruka 3900 to 0000. Winner. Naruto. All cards disappeared when the victor screen was shown. Naruto walked over as Haruka is laying on the floor. "Are you okay?" Naruto asked as Haruka slowly got back onto her feet with her hair shadowing her eyes, making Asana worry, but then they were dashed as Haruka stated to laugh, confusing everyone and even making Naruto raise an eyebrow. "You've got a strong fighting spirit. From this day on you and I are rivals," Haruka stated, surprising Naruto and the others, but this didn't bother Naruto at all. "Sure, I'll take you on any time," Naruto said, clenching his fist as he smirked at Haruka. From that day on, Naruto and Haruka's rivalry had been formed. The two of them often competed in many things: martial arts, racing, training, and of course dueling. Everything seems to be looking up for Naruto. He has so many new friends, good rivals, a much better life. Naruto is standing on top of the building looking over the city at nighttime. "Why do I have a feeling something is coming?" Naruto thought to himself as he looked down at his deck that is he holding before grasping them tightly. "No matter what the challenges I'll face, I'll be ready to tackle them head on with Link Joker," Naruto thought to himself. What if Naruto neglected by family? Yugioh Zexal end here, and thanks for watching my video till the end.